Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. We're gonna have a lot of interesting things to talk about. Uh, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. How's it going, Revenant?
Hey, what's up, Jinpachi? Doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Everything's going well. I been playing a lot of classics lately. I finished Resident Evil remake again, and I also finished the original. Well, not the original, the director's cut because I have it on my Vita. So playing both games, the original and the remake back to back, was like a really fun experience because I really enjoy those games. Actually, was I figured I finally figured out a good pattern to kill hunters with the knife in the remake. Because in the original, I used to do knife only runs, but in the remake, I always like struggled with certain enemies. But I think if I wanted to, I can do a knife run now in the remake. So I don't know. Just it's kind of neither here nor there, but that's what I've been doing. It's been pretty fun.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fun stuff.
actually, kind of funny. What was it? After the podcast last week, finally finished Rise of the Ronin.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, actually, now that you mentioned it, I finally finished Elden Ring because I remember I told you that I did I went I went on
Ah,
like a hiatus from the game for a while. I don't know if you remember that,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, so I took a hiatus not because of the difficulty. It's mainly because I was playing other things at the
No, I
time,
remember.
but I finally got around to it, and yeah, so I'm glad I put that to rest. I don't know if I'll get the DLC. I have friends that want to play with me, like co-op and whatever. So I'm considering it, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to like uh invest in that time dump right now.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I don't blame you. It's
Yeah,
very demanding of your time and patience, even with friends.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you know,
Spirit of Paradox. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, hell yeah.
yeah. Love
God,
Spirit.
God bless America.
It's anyone else and to anyone else watching, hope you're having a good weekend and a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
week.
yeah, for
So,
sure, for sure.
you remember what the topics are, right? I mean, we're not
The
getting
one
into
that
them right away yet.
the one that I remember the Trump assassination thing and the what was it called? The Concord, Concord, and what's going on with that. From what I understand, people are barely playing
Concord,
that
yeah.
game.
The beta, yeah. That's the thing. And also barely people are playing Flintlock, Siege of Dawn. Uh,
Yeah.
you may not remember what it is. Like,
No, I've seen it. I've seen Flintlock. I've seen it, and you
okay.
know, yeah. I mean, the game never interested me to begin. To be honest,
Right.
I don't like hero shooters or live service games like that. Like, I can get into certain ones if they're really fun or whatever, but I find them like I get that that's a subjective thing, but I find them pretty boring. Like, I like multiplayer games, but I don't really like service multiplayer games. If that makes sense. That's why, like, despite nothing wrong with First Descendant, and
Yeah. No, I agree.
I like all the waifu
I also
costumes.
agree. Spirit, the Wokies are definitely losing power, as they
Yeah,
should.
they're losing powers. Yeah, exactly. I agree. But if like the First Descendant, it's fun and all. Like, the gameplay is fine. I guess for me, like, I don't like the endless grind, like infinite gameplay, because a lot of times when games have infinite gameplay, it means they'll be repetitive in a way. Although I do like the designs, I respect the game like the First Descendant way more than a game like Concord or Suicide Squad or whatever.
Oh
But I
yeah.
just like I guess
Mm-hmm.
like it's just not necessarily like my niche. Like Destiny, I played for a little while, but I just can't get into them personally. But that being said though, like,
Yeah, I tried other free to play games before as well, like Genshin Impact, Sky Forge, Let It Die. I think I'm missing another one, but I mean they were good for what they were. But yeah, after a while, it's like the grindiness, the repetitiveness, it kind of like weighs down on the experience, and then it's like, all right, I I would much rather play something that's like straightforward and has like a beginning and end, and I don't feel like I have to, you know, pull out my wallet for anything additional to get through it, or just the fact that everything just feels like, you're kind of wondering, all right, when is this going to end? Unless you're playing a Ubisoft game, you're probably thinking that. But for other games, yeah, you can just like get a good like single player or even multiplayer experience if you want. That's pretty satisfying.
But I will say though, the first Descendant has been like one of the more fun ones that I've played in the last, like, out of the last few free to play games that I've tried. Like, I'll admit that first Descendant was kind of fun. So I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna bash the game, and it kind of does the right thing with like how to with the female representation and how they do that and stuff. So I'm really I don't want to say excited. I mean, not excited. Like, I'm okay with, like, that game. I could see myself playing it, but I just don't want to put in the time dump. That's all. That's really for me what it is. It's not a bad game, it's just not the time dump. As
Right.
opposed to games like Concord and Suicide Squad, where like those are objectively like terrible,
Yeah.
terrible games. So it's a whole
Yeah. Yeah.
different
Yeah.
a whole
Yeah.
different thing. But also, I have to call out, obviously the microtransactions are extremely greedy, but again, it's a free to play game. They have to make money back somehow. So in a way, even though I don't like
That's
it,
true. Yeah.
even though I don't like
It's part of the
it,
course.
the insane, yeah, it's part of the course, and I feel like they almost have to do it because that game obviously costs multi millions to make. They have to get a return on their investment. They're not going to get that if the game is free. So as greedy and grindy as it is, I kind of see that as the evil that comes with the game being free. There was no way in hell it wasn't going to have it being free to play.
Oh yeah. Real quick, Spirit. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're dropping it completely. They're probably rebranding and naming it something else. And then even if they were to drop it completely, you also have the other developers with that type of mindset, and
I
also
heard I heard
consulting
it's called
firms like Sweet
Bridge.
Baby Inc. still involved. So Sarah Bond with her and all that. So
I heard it was called Bridge. But that's the thing they're going for,
yeah,
like bridge or
that's
something.
another investment company basically.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, is it an investment company,
So
or is it a system? Anyway, either way, it's more DEI. It's like the same shit by a different name.
I think it's like a system where like they what's the
Yeah, it's
word,
like a
like
it's like ES.
analyze companies, like help them
Yeah, it's basically like a another DEI firm. It's not really like a. I don't know if it's a
yeah.
company, but I think it's more of a system. But either way, like, regardless, like, it's not good. It's more of the same. And I've heard of Jedi as well. That's another one that's kind of funny.
Technically, it is a company.
The irony that it's called Jedi, but whatever. Yeah, they both aren't very, they both aren't good. So yeah. So
Yeah, definitely
can you
not.
yeah. So I think there might be a massive delay on our ends. Actually, there seems to always be a delay
Yeah,
nowadays.
StreamYard's acting up. It's fucking annoying with StreamYards, man.
Yeah, but
So I
that's
don't
the
know.
it goes back to what we were
It was
saying
really
before
bad
about it being
last
free.
time. I mean, you already know.
Yeah, but that's the thing with it being free.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I don't know if Spirit of Paradox wants to come on, but you could definitely let him on if you want. I don't see why not. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I can send the link. I can send the links out now. I can put it in a
since
chat for him. I can also send it to him on X, but it'd probably just be easier if I send it on the chat.
probably. Um, but also, I was like, so yeah, like I told you, I mean, because we haven't gotten to the topics yet, but back to the
Right.
Resident Evil remake. Like, I had it, like, last time I beat the game was a few years ago because I play it like every periodically I'll play through the original and the remake again because I like both of those games.
Hmm.
And after playing through it, I'm like playing back to back both of them, like instantly back to back from each other. I kind of feel like I feel like it's kind of weird where like some things are a lot of the remake is 100% better in almost every way, but then there are little things where I'm like the original kind of like just did more smoothly. Like for example, with Rebecca, where like Rebecca in the remake is like she's still kind of like I don't want to. She's like not necessarily bubbly, but she's still very like girlish and like has like a youthful vibe about her. But she's a little bit more serious. And there's a part where where Richard, after the part with
Hmm.
Richard, and she just cries on Chris's shoulder. I feel like that was a very nice addition because it really humanized her a lot. Not just being like a bubbly like white upbeat waifu type, but like really like it made her into like it just made her more like gave it grounded her more. I felt like that scene was really cool, like really. I'm glad they added that and like other things as well. And then some of the lines were changed, where like I mean a lot of the lines were changed, but like some of like the lines toward the end of the game are like so different that I feel like they're almost executed better in the original. Like remember when Tyrant smashes the glass in the original game? I feel like that looked cooler than it did in the remake,
Hmm.
where he just like stabbed through the glass and killed Wesker. Where in the other one, he kind of like palm strikes the glass and then like smashes through, and it's very like grandiose.
Yeah,
While in the remake, he
it
kind of
was
just
cool.
yeah, and in the remake, he just kind of impales through the glass and kills Wesker, and it's kind of like anticlimactic in comparison to the original. So, or the line with Chris where he says it can't kill me, and then that line is totally gone in the remake. I think he says
In the
like
remake,
bring it.
yeah.
He says like bring it on or something or come get it or something like that, but well, something like that. Hey there, Hakami. So in a way, I mean, like yeah, like
It's
obviously
like
the
Joe
remake
Swanson.
is yeah,
Oh, what's up?
like
What's up, Akami?
but yeah, like the remake is good.
Real quick, Akami, appreciate you letting us know about the Trump shooting when it was happening.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was very
So
very yeah,
yeah,
perfect timing with that man. Perfect
yeah,
timing.
right, yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at that. I just
Anyway,
kind of
back to what you were saying.
no, I just think it's funny that like so much of the game is better, but then for some reason there are a couple things that are like objectively better than the original, which you would think that it would be like outclassed in every way. And obviously some of it is subjective too, but
Yeah,
and I mean, come on, Rebecca lost her headband 2 out of 10 automatically because she lost her headband.
think you went mute or something, or it's giving
I
me
don't know if
some
I
weird
want mute.
delay or something.
I said that the game's automatically a 2 out of 10 because she lost her headband, Rebecca.
Yeah,
Oh,
it ain't
it
the
must have
same.
cut
It's not
out.
Rebecca without the headband.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I don't know. It's fucking annoying with this shit.
It probably just skipped out there, but with the delay, it's kind of hard to keep track. But whatever, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, Concord beta flopped, and no surprise, man. No surprise.
Yeah.
You know what?
The
I think,
closed beta didn't do that well, which was like I think a week or so ago, and then even now with the open beta, it still didn't do very well. I mean, it did a little better than the closed beta, but I mean that would be to be expected because to get access to the closed beta, you would have to pre-order the game, and when you pre-order the game, not only do you get a closed beta code, but you also have I think they give you like 7 or 9 of them to give out to other people. So,
yeah.
which
I
like
mean
lets you know like they're
they're
not
desperate.
confident in this game at all. Yeah, they're really desperate. They know.
They're desperate. Because you know what
Yeah.
though, people they miss the point of hero shooters. Like think about it, right? Like a lot of the DEI is anti-idealist entertainment, meaning that no epic heroic male characters, no
Yep.
beautiful feminine female character. They want all this like self inserts, but it's a hero shooter. It's a character shooter. It's like it should be idealized. So if you take that out of it and you just put a bunch of like ugly like weirdos, and then one of the characters actually looks like a rip off of that thing from Steven Universe. I forgot the character's name, but It actually reminded me of that. I couldn't put my finger on what it was, but
Oh, really?
yeah, it was like a Steven Universe character. Even though I don't like Steven Universe, I did see that character before. I forgot the name of it was, but it was like a fusion or something. I don't remember. Whatever.
Ah,
That show was ass.
well, I'm
But
sure that fan base is gonna be playing that game.
yeah, yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like that's why when I saw that, I was like, maybe they're trying to appeal to them specifically. But with hero shooters,
I, I guess so. I don't know, but
the thing is, it's idealized. You don't want to
I
play as
heard
normal
I
people
heard
in a fucking
they were
hero shooter.
working on it since 2020, and apparently, Sony bought them, purchased the studio, and I guess like allegedly, I don't know if this is true or not, that they weren't doing too good as far as financially. They would have canceled the game and possibly shut down or laid people off or something.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Even though that's probably going to happen anyway after the game comes out. You're probably going to have the studio shut down or a couple of people within the teams to some other development studio
Yeah, I think
somewhere.
that I think that's what I think.
I guess
Well, I heard
I don't
NetherRealm
know,
had
but
massive layoffs recently because you just
I
reminded me of
think
that now. NetherRealm,
oh wow, yeah. I mean,
yeah, they
that's
had
not
a massive amount of
surprising.
layoffs.
They strip away like they take away like some of the identity of Mortal Kombat. I mean, they keep rebooting shit, then they want to do a multiverse, and then they want to pretty much like censor itself in a way. Aside from the gore is still there, obviously. Even though Ed Boon did say uh they were considering looking into like options for streamers to remove the gore or replace with something else or whatever, which kind of just takes away from Mortal Kombat. I mean, if anything, just get in touch with like whoever is in charge of these platforms that will uh hurt people's streams or videos if they were to show the gore, because I
But
don't
you
know,
know
it's
what
just
though?
stupid to
You know
me.
what
But
though? That shows you how industry affects other industry, right? Like the regulations of YouTube has affected game developers' philosophy on making their game. Like if you think about it, that's kind of like a dark turn, right? Because in a way, like you have Mortal Kombat with its
no,
violence
it's true.
and sexuality and stuff like that, that it was inherent to the series, and that's not exactly perfect for streamers. But then again, those games were never meant to appeal to everyone in the sense that that game wasn't meant for like people who were like adverse to blood, gore, or
Yeah.
sexuality or whatever, like like, or even for like obviously not for kids or not for like people under the that are not mature adults or whatever. So the intention was never to appeal to
Hmm.
everybody. So I find it kind of ironic that they censor themselves for the sake of streamers, because streamers need to be able to stream to for everyone, because the ad required, the ad suitability, which I think is kind of like a weird thing, right? And again, like it lost its identity. And I also think it's goofy that, like, I think the mentality that, like, oh, the blood is blue, it's not red, so now it's okay to see for me to see somebody get a kid to see a monster get its face ripped off. It's like you change the color of the blood, it's still insanely violent, but yet somehow you can get away with it if the blood is blue or black or green or whatever, which I think is I just think it's dumb. I don't think, like, I don't know, like that mentality, it's a loophole, and the loophole only exists because of broken laws. It's like a nonsensical like loophole that everyone knows is just a loophole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. I actually agree with what Spirit was saying. Spirit of Paradox had wrote that they can release like two versions of the game,
Like X-Men Origins,
like
Wolverine game
X
did.
Men Origins did. Wolverine,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had that game. That game was
Hmm.
pretty fun. That was a really fun game. The movie, you know what's funny? I know this is blasphemous, but I actually kind of like the movie too. Aside from what they did to Deadpool, if they would have never did that to Deadpool, I wouldn't like. I would be honest, like I don't hate that. I think it's okay. I think the reaction, that's a whole nother thing. The game was really fun though. Um, but I just think that if you're a streamer, like if you're a streamer and you're trying to, do this ad suitable shit, what, like,
it makes no sense to stream Mortal Kombat. And if you're streaming Mortal Kombat, then you should have mature. Because like, all right, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. Let's say you're streaming. All right, let's say you're streaming Mortal Kombat. There should be ads that are suitable for adults on that video.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like, oh, you can't monetize it at all because there's gore, because there's grown adults and there's advertisements that are only shown to grown adults. Like
Mm-hmm.
they act like kids are like the major market. It's like, dude, like there are just as many adults as kids. Like you can make it like Mortal Kombat, and then like kids are gonna find a way to like watch and access this stuff anyway. Because I really feel like it's all like a big like endless loop of like, I don't want to even use the word disingenuous loop. It's kind of like I said before, it's just one big loophole. Like ads want to be able to show videos. They want to show their ads on your videos. Your video can't have ads because it's blood and gore. But if you change the color of the blood and gore, then all of a sudden the extreme violence is okay, which means it's suitable for kids. But if you really think about it, it's not. It's a dumb loophole. I don't understand it. I think that it's just like the elephant in the room that no one wants to address.
What is Flintlock? I do not know what
I
Flintlock
mean,
is.
you look at it. I think he means Flintlock. I was
Oh,
looking to see.
Flintlock.
Maybe did I spell it wrong? But I spelled it right.
Flintlock is what Fred Flintstone calls his member.
What's up, Y2? No, you're he's right. Y2. Yeah, you're right. The community don't want to talk about. I mean, a lot of these people within like these fighting game communities don't, or even like other game series that are like usually covering these type of games. Well, not even just fighting games, but just games in general. Like they don't want to really address like real issues or even like common issues that regular people have. It's always like,
Blind loyalty.
usually about, yeah, they're more so worried about like what affects them and only them, opposed to everyone else. Like they're just like looking out for their bottom dollar, basically. Like what's gonna affect them, but everyone else, like, yeah, not everyone has a close relationship with these companies or get invited to this event or that event sponsored by whoever, and all that, get free
Yeah.
games, collector's editions, so they can do unboxings and all that.
Sphere
Like,
hunter types.
yeah. So it's like, that's why when
Well,
they'll try to make regular issues look like legit issues seem minor. Again, like you mentioned with Sphere Hunter, with Dragon's Dogma 2, a lot of these like big time YouTubers and all that, they get the review copy and all that, and then it's like, well, I didn't notice any problems, I didn't have any issues, whatever. Yeah, well, a shit ton of people have. That's why they're still patching the game to this day.
yeah.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
like
it's only
it's
been
that thing where
a few
like,
months since it came out, but they still been rolling out patches to try to make the game functional.
well, it's like
A
with
lot of
game
people.
developers, a
So
lot of game
it's an issue, and
developers
it should be criticized.
with a lot of game developers is they have the mentality that if we ignore it, hopefully it'll go away. Like hopefully it'll go away. Like Cyberpunk try to do
Yep.
that. So many games companies try to do that, and like if you think about it, trying
Mm-hmm.
to ignore the issue is not going to help it, and it's just going to hurt your game. And then that's when you see like you have the fan bases saying,
Yep.
"Cry more, complain more. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care, whatever." But then these games fail
Yeah.
because
How does this
remember,
affect you and all that?
just because people are not speaking about it, like people forget that the majority is silent. So the majority of people are actually generally silent. Generally silent about these issues. So somebody who is not vocal online, they might just drop the game and be like, "I'm not playing it. This shit's fucking ass." But just because they're not posting it all over social media doesn't mean that that's not the majority of the players. So, for example, with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I'm using that because I hate that game. But with that as an example, people like they act like everyone who plays games is on Twitter or whatever. Like most people who play games are not like necessarily talking about them. They're just playing them and then moving
Yeah.
on to the next thing. And a lot of these people, they don't like the woke shit. They don't like all this stuff, but they're just not talking about it online. They're just choosing to not play the game. You can't tell people to cry more. You can't tell people like, oh, this game is people or the fans are gonna play it anyway, or whatever. And then you see the game is flopping. That completely contradicts what they're saying. But that's like a level of critical thought these people don't really
Yep.
really apply to these situations.
Yeah. That reminds me, because you just made me remember. Capcom released the Dragon's Dogma 2 demo, which is like they do this thing now with. I mean, they've been doing it with the Resident Evil games, but they usually do it before the game comes out. It's like a 2 hour, or maybe like sometimes it'll be like an hour, like a time limit for the demo. And with the Dragon's Dogma 2 demo, it was like 2 hours. I actually tried it. I actually think the game is fun, which was never really in question whether or not the game was fun or had like any quality to it. The issue was clearly the microtransactions, the removal of male and female. There's no bi type A and B. They kind of have like some weird middle ground, but it's still egregious nonetheless.
Well,
And then also, how the people on YouTube, the shills kind of try to cover up the issue or try to make it seem minor and talk shit basically about the people who actually were complaining about it.
yeah. Well, you know what it is? It's like
So,
those people. They just don't like.
yeah, like them releasing
there
that demo now. The game came out in what, like January, for like March.
Yeah,
Yeah, it came out in
it's
March.
a bad
So
sign.
then it's like kind of like lets you know that the game isn't doing as well as people. Yeah,
It's a bad sign because, like, again, like these people, they're in delusional land. It's like, I think specifically it's cognitive dissonance, and it's again, I always use this word, it's mental gymnastics. It's like, I like the game, so all criticism, everything anyone else says is automatically false. But unfortunately for them, the sales, the
yeah, you see it
perception
all
of
the time.
the perception of the game and all that is going to exist no matter what. You can't you can't force people, you can't like try to bully people into liking things. Well, you can actually, because we see it with the leftist shit, but they can try to bully people
Yeah.
into liking things they don't like, but it rarely works. You just can't force things, right? Because look at Elden
Yeah.
Ring. Look at Elden Ring and look at Sekiro. Elden Ring barely, I think, had no microtransactions from what I remember, outside of the DLC that came out recently. And that game sold a shit ton of copies and was like a game of the year, right?
Mhm.
And like, or whatever. I
Yep.
mean, not that that matters because game of the year is bullshit now anyway. But I mean, my point is the game was successful, and it didn't have that stuff in it. And all these
Yeah.
companies, it's just straight greed, where they feel like we have to put in a shit ton of microtransactions in order to make our money. In order to make money, we have to put microtransactions. But then they don't realize that by doing that to their game, that alienates people, makes them not want to buy it. I'd rather have 100
Yeah,
million
it
copies
does,
sold
yeah.
of my game with no microtransactions and just get the base game money than have my game with a shit ton of microtransactions and only a half the amount of people buy it because they're turned off. But these companies don't understand that because they feel like, I think from their perspective, they feel like, well, people are gonna buy it anyway. They're gonna enjoy it anyway. So let's just shove it in there. What could it hurt or whatever? But they're not thinking about the optics from the gamer perspective. So that's how I look at it.
Yep. Absolutely. Yes. Spirit. I agree. We definitely need another Def Jam Vendetta game.
Yeah, that'd be
Definitely.
sick.
Oh, another fight in New York, or Fight for New York. I
Fight,
forgot
fight,
what
fight
the
for New
title
York.
was.
Fight for New York was superior in every way, though. It was, in my
Yeah,
opinion,
it
that
was.
game
It really was.
was way better.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're both great. They're both
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I just want them to make games like they used to, because you know what's funny? I was watching a video and somebody I like how he articulated his point, because he was very specific but didn't mention a single thing about woke or DEI. So like people couldn't like try to like fixate on that. They had to address what he was saying. And and I forgot the guy's, I wish I remember what the
That's
video was
smart.
called, but he was talking about, I mean, you could clearly tell by what he was saying he's like against the woke shit, but he never made the video about that. Like he made it specifically about the game design. And when you think about like games like Last of Us, where you have to hold the up button hold up to climb the ladder with Kratos, walk slowly and listen to conversation. He's talking about how he misses the old days where gaming was more interactive. That people don't want an interactive movie per se; they want a game with a story, not a movie with
Exactly.
prompts
Yeah.
here and there.
That's
So
what I'm saying. I agree.
so for
You
me,
got
it's like
to if you remember the video, send it to me later.
I'll send it to you, and if I find it, it might be in my history. I don't remember, but then you have like you have like the old games, right? Like the old. Let's look at an old cinematic game that like was very much like for its era. Like look at I was talking about Resident Evil 1. Look at Resident Evil 1. There's a lot of walking. There's a lot of holding forward, and there's a lot of cutscenes and shit, but there's like so much gameplay and immersiveness to the game that you never feel like you're playing a walking simulator or a movie. Even though you can argue that the old Resident Evils have aspects of them that are like a little bit like modern
Yeah,
gaming,
yeah.
like the slow walking and stuff, whatever. So my whole point is that you can have games with like a very like engaging story, but with a shit ton of gameplay. And Resident Evil, despite having that feel to some of it, especially the old ones, you're still mostly playing the game. You're still mostly solving puzzles. You're still mostly avoiding enemies. So even though like my whole point with this is that you can have a slower paced game with a great story without it feeling like a fake movie walking simulator.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's actually a good example of how to do it right, and where I'm sure people will probably even use that as an argument, like, oh, well, what about Resident Evil, the old Resident Evils? Because you do this or whatever. It's like, all right, well, there's more interaction going on. There's more freedom that the player has. Not everyone's gonna play that game the exact same way. Where other games, like, a lot of current games that try to be overly cinematic, you lose a lot of like the player freedom, player choice, and a lot of times, it just boils down to everyone's really playing the same game the exact same way.
Yeah, and not to mention that it's expensive, and that's a very risky endeavor to make something so expensive that is boring. Because like
Yep.
I'll give you an example. I don't care how much people like the new God of War. You cannot compare the pace and action of the modern God of War to the old one. You just can't. You just
It's
like
like
it's
night and
just
day.
straight up night and day. Like the old games are action packed and fun and gory and like no apologies
Just
given.
superior.
Superior from beginning to end.
The only thing
Right?
people can argue about is like
The
maybe like
graphics.
graphics, but
Yeah.
even then, like the old ones had more style to it.
And they had
It had
good
like
graphics for their time.
a look to it.
God of War
Yeah, they
1
did.
is
Yeah.
one of the it came out I think in 2005 or something like that. That's one of the best looking games on PS2. God of War 1, God of War 2 looks great.
hmm
God of War 3
Three,
looked great it looked great when it came
even
out. That game looks like I
even
remember
Ascension.
and Ascension
That
looked
was good
really
too.
yeah, they for their eras they all had very good graphics. So don't I'll be honest, like I'm gonna be honest. I'm a fucking guy. I'm into like Vikings. I like the fucking giant beards. I like Kratos's look in the modern games. I'll give them that. I do like his look. I think it looks cool with the beard and like
hmm
um like the burliness. I don't even mind him using like an axe or whatever. Um I don't even mind that they gave him backstory with a son and they give him a new son and all that. I don't mind any of that, but I think that the gameplay is where that game fit. I mean, also the DEI shit in Ragnarok was heavy handed. Um,
In his characterization.
yeah, because I'm gonna be honest with you. In 2018, you could say what you want about the game being like boring or like walking slowly or whatever, but it wasn't so heavy handed with like leftist shit. So if you go back and play that game, you'll see that like it's not like so fucking like far left or whatever. Like it's just worse than the old God of Wars. But Ragnarok is like
Well,
full on like DEI like bullshit like ass jackery.
speaking of, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, David Francisco. The left always trying to, for years now, trying to control like what's being said, the narrative that comes across, always trying to, again, manipulate whatever story to fit their agenda, and it's never really like free. Like they talk about healing and freedom and whatnot, and then what ends up happening is it's only when it's their side, but if it's the opposite, like Republicans, conservatives, or even independents. Again, if you're not a Democrat, then to them it's like you kind of like lose your right to really even have a voice or a say so in whatever matter. So overall, it's bullshit. And where the hell did Jim Pachi go? Oh, is that him? I mean, of course it's him. He's the only one that had the link. So let me get him back in.
Yeah, I that was my fault. I accidentally
Yeah, got a feeling.
I'm using it on my phone, so I was looking at comments and I pressed the back button on my phone and it just booted me from the thing.
Oh, I was wondering what happened. I'm like, all right.
Well. The God of feeling. You know what it is, man? Like, this is how I look at it, David Francisco. We all have the right of free speech, but we don't have the freedom of no consequences. And I think that with the left, like, I wouldn't say, like, I think every person has the right to free speech, but I don't think the left can ever be taken seriously again. Hopefully that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
Like,
that's more or less what I was trying to say. Where it's like,
because it's a
they try to play
slope.
A certain way, and it ultimately is not fair, because it should be both sides. Like, all right, well, if you are free to express your opinion on something, so should the opposite side.
Yeah, I agree.
It can't go one way, because then you're basically then full of shit. You're talking about where you're trying to paint this narrative that you're the good guys and the other side is like evil and always corrupt and all that, when we see exactly which side is evil and corrupt.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing.
And it really sucks that it took a failed assassination attempt in order for a lot of people to see that
and open their eyes.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is that like, you have either everyone has free speech or no one has free speech.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we can't be hypocrites, and I think that that's the difference between the left and the right. Is that the left, a lot of them are hypocrites. Yep. The right generally tends to not be as hypocritical.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like yeah. So I get what you're saying, David, but I feel like that's a slippery slope. I think that they haven't earned their right to free speech. I think that when you say that they don't deserve it, I agree with you, but I believe that they should have it, and like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't deserve it because of the way they act, but I feel like people should enforce their right to have free speech, because again, we don't want to be what they are.
And on top of that, if they are gonna, like, say you have a debate with someone who's on the left, then all right, counter back, and then usually a lot of times leftists will say dumb shit. So then anyone listening in, depending on whatever the context may be, like, I don't know, like if Steven Crowder goes to a college or somewhere, and group of people, you could have a group of people who's either going to agree or disagree, but they're going to hear both sides out, and even that will probably originally come in disagreeing, like a Steven Crowder, they hear the back and forth between Crowder and like the student or whoever it may be,
and they get humiliated.
And then that group of people they usually get humiliated, and then that group of people who were originally against what Crowder's stance on whatever it may be will come and turn around and be like, you know what? After hearing this dumbass student, or it's usually students, like a dumbass student saying all this nonsense, I kind of see what Steven Crowder is saying, because it also comes down to how you verbalize and how you go about it, because how you tackle the response.
Exactly.
Like if someone is trying to say something, they're trying to talk over you, you go like, oh, hold on. Well, and then maybe you follow a question to them, like how can you explain? Why don't you explain these statistics? Why don't you explain this? Why aren't you directly answering what I'm saying? Why aren't you trying to refute what I'm saying?
Because that sways people. Because like, let me put it this way: people love to use the
Exactly.
And again, David Francisco, with all due respect, I don't agree with no. You should never give the left the right to talk, because again, America is not a dictatorship. It's not, right? because then it could be something
Yeah.
else. Oh, you don't
I
get to.
understand I
you,
understand the frustration where he's coming from, but
you
yeah.
also have to be logical and not be an extremist, because
Yeah,
again, like
exactly.
at that
Yeah.
point you start to become an extremist. It's like, all right, then all of a sudden you can say, well, you don't get to talk because you're Muslim, or you don't get to talk because you're this, or you don't get to talk because of that. It's like, it's such a slippery slope to say that. So it's better to destroy these people with public
Mhm.
discourse, and then you'll sway people. Because let me put it this way: if you're on the right,
Yeah.
if you're a right-wing person, you're telling other people like, hey, you don't get to fucking talk, you have no right to free speech or whatever. It makes people that are in the middle, or people that could possibly vote right, they're going to say, I don't want to be part of this. These people are fucking dictators, and you're proving them right by
Yep.
acting like that. So it's better to clown and humiliate them and embarrass them and
Yeah.
shut down their arguments instead of trying to silence them. Because whenever you try to silence somebody, it makes the other side seem whatever the side may be, it makes it seem like they're right. Because then they're like, oh, why are they trying to silence them? Why are they trying to whatever? The best way to shut people up is to stump them with the truth, where they can no longer they can't respond, because they can't. You basically have destroyed them logically and reset their factory settings, more or less. Like you shut them down, you stifle them by logic
Mhm.
and proving what you're saying. I don't think that extremist mentality is gonna like change anything. Telling people that they shouldn't have free speech is very hypocritical, because we are in America. You don't have to agree with it. You can clown them, but it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope. Granted,
Mhm.
they're bitches and they're hypocrites,
Hey,
and
what's up, Reborn? I'll send out the link soon, and I'll let you know. And
they're
I'm
look
sorry, Jim Pachi, I don't mean to cut you off. So yeah.
no, and they're bitches and hypocrites, and again, they're idiots. I agree with you 100%. I just think that when it comes to that specifically, telling people they're not allowed to talk is a very, very slippery slope. And I don't
Yeah.
think that and I don't think that's the way you're going to win anybody over. And again, people might say, well, I don't care, I don't want to win them over. It's like, you need to win over people to win. You need people to be on your side in a war, in a battle, in a whatever debate, whatever
Yeah.
two sides of things.
Strength in numbers.
You need strength in numbers. And again, proving somebody's an idiot is a better way to bring them to your side than telling them you're not allowed to talk. And look at Trump.
Mhm.
Trying to silence Trump by assassinating him has made leftists go right wing. They're gonna vote for Trump now. Like me and
Yeah.
Rev we know an older
Mhm.
woman, and she was very far left. And after the assassination, she turned around, and now she's gonna vote right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they made themselves look bad by trying to silence Trump via killing him.
Yep.
You know, so I think we have to think logically and critically, and not be extremist.
Yeah. I agree with Solo as well with facts and logic. And what's up, Christian Freakies? And yeah, Reborn, I'll check out your message in a bit. So should we
See, look at
should I send out
let
the
me
links?
before
Or
you send it, let me just read this comment.
okay.
So David Francisco says, no, never let the left talk, because there will always exist retards who will swallow their crap no matter what. Debates are a waste of time. And again, like, I don't know what to tell you, but that's simply wrong. Look, when you say there are retards that will swallow their crap no matter what, that is true. When you say debates are pointless, that is not true, for the reasons
Yep.
that both me and Revenant have mentioned. And again, like, I understand your
Yeah.
frustration and I get where you're coming from, but
Mhm.
America is not a dictatorship. And, if you try to dictate what someone else does, then, you can't be mad when they try to dictate what you do.
Yeah, exactly. And under a dictatorship, things will be a lot worse. You think it's
Trust me.
bad, then under a dictatorship, then forget about it.
Yeah, because when you go to if you had a far right dictatorship, let's say you had like a very hard far right dictatorship, it sounds good if you're on the right wing side of things, but it can get bad very quickly.
Even then, because then it's like it's just gonna,
Because look, I'll put it this
make
way.
things even more corrupt.
I'll put it this way though.
Either way, you know what I mean?
I'll put it. This will be the
Because
last point I
power
make about it.
corrupts pretty much anyone. So
Yeah, it corrupts anybody.
Okay.
It corrupts anybody. And like, this will be the last example I'm gonna give. A lot of Christians and a lot of like right wing conservatives think that a lot of the gaming stuff, comic stuff, entertainment stuff is demonic. They think a lot of manga and anime is demonic. It doesn't matter if we know that's retarded or not. What's gonna happen is, if you had a far right wing extremist dictatorship, they're gonna ban that shit in the U.S. They're gonna say, "Oh, games are demonic. This is anti-Christian, whatever." Like that's the kind of thing you'll deal with if you had a dictatorship, you know. So again, and I like I said, I grew up in Christianity. I grew up exposed to religion my whole life. I grew up. My mom is converted to Islam or whatever. So, you know, she's Muslim. So I've been exposed to religion, and I'm telling you that if you followed the Bible to the T, if you followed Islam to the T, if you followed Christianity to the T, you're gonna end up with entertainment as a whole being absolutely destroyed. Just letting you know. If you like video games, if you like movies, if you like anime, if you like comics, that shit is gone. So, um, but that's a whole nother argument where people a lot of people don't even follow religion like in a pure way. I'm not religious, by the way, and I'm not religious anymore. I believe in God, but I'm basically I don't follow religion. But if you were religious, if you were like truly followed the Bible, truly followed the Quran, fully followed Christianity, fully were traditionally a conservative Christian and really went hard with that, then it would become extremism at a certain level. So again, it's like we have to use we have to use sense here.
Yeah, that's true.
So
So I
I'll
can
leave
send
it
a
at
link
that.
out now.
Yeah, send a link out. I just wanted to clear that up because we can't be talking
All
crazy,
right. No, yeah, I know. So what topic should we start off with? Should we just like go with the Trump thing and work our way down?
Let's work
Did
our
I
way
cut
through the
out?
subjects as listed. Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good. I can hear
Oh
you.
yeah, so let's start with the Trump thing and work our way down.
Okay, no problem. Let me try to get X open. And then I'll put the link in the chat for some people to get it, like Spirit or Reborn. Make it easier.
Yo, Christian, what's up?
And obviously, if anyone in the chat wants to join, give their perspective, you're free to do so.
And even if you disagree, you can come on here and explain why you disagree. Just keep it respectful. If you use ad hominem for anyone hate watching, who there might be people hate watching, you can always come on the podcast and debate your point. But the second it becomes ad hominem, you're gonna get your ass booted out of here. So make sure you stay on subject and don't act like a bitch, which is ad hominem, but don't act like that.
Yeah, those be the rules.
Yeah. If you can't debate with ad hominem, that means you're not strong in your points. So it kind of makes you a fool anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, it kind of like makes it like, all right, well, what's the point of debating if you're gonna go there?
You know the good old fashioned argument, right? You know what it is, right?
What's that?
I don't know how to respond, so cry more. Beavis and Butthead, you're expelled. That's them. That's those people.
Beavis and Butthead, you're expelled.
Yeah, that's basically them. Like, I don't have a retort. Cope.
The first day they hear you talking, he's saying, using facts and logic, like, they get turning all red.
Yeah, for real. And then my favorite is the brain dead rapper talk where like they just fucking throwing out buzzwords. Bruh is ... insert any random thing that they disagree with.
Oh yeah. Y'all
That's how I
niggas
know.
goofy. Y'all crazy.
That's goofy. Bruh is yapping. Bruh is, it's like, bro, don't you have a fucking mind of your own? Do rappers fucking put their pee-pee in your butt and then that they transfer their fucking vocabulary into your brain? Like, be a fucking man. Have intelligence, bro. Please. Nothing against rappers. I don't have a problem with rappers. It's more so It's more so that people just fucking make their entire life and communication skills just whatever modern buzzword and slang. And I'm like you're not. At least explain your fucking point. At least have an argument.
At least. And
You know?
at least somewhat intelligently, like you ain't gotta talk to everyone like like we're on the street or something, copping drugs or something. It's like, can you at least, because you gotta claim that we're fools, we don't know what we're talking about, but then it's like you can barely form a sentence, or your vocabulary skills are that of a 5-year-old.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get me wrong, I use a shit ton of slang myself, but like,
yeah, me
if
too. Like, it's like slang is like, it's all right, it's fine, but it's like, if that's all you got, and
yeah, if all you got is bro is yapping or bro is just mad, it's like you have no fucking argument, bro. I can't take you seriously. Like, you're a bot. Like, you literally are a bot repeating your program. Your program is active and has executed. You have executed on your fucking program. You know? But anyway, yeah, so let's bring people on.
yeah. Yeah, I sent some of the links out on X, so let me put it in the chat. All right, Reborn in Spirit, I'm sending the link out now.
Define woke, but not like that though.
That's that's their favorite one. Define woke, you give them the definition, or even if you like correct the definition, because obviously it has changed, and also depending on where you're getting it from, it's gonna steer in a certain, it's gonna like paint it in a certain narrative.
Well, like Wikipedia, Wikipedia's definition is wrong. It is actually straight up
I seen
wrong.
it too. Yeah,
it is wrong.
It's very like, it leans more toward the left, so it's like you're gonna have
because
to,
it makes it seem like it's good faith
yourself, because
it makes it seem like it's good faith when it's not. It's like, bro, like, if you think there's any real activism happening by being woke, then you're a fucking idiot. Sorry to whoever's an idiot.
For real. Especially at this point.
Hello.
Yo, what's up, Spirit?
At this point, it's like,
I am good. I'm good. How's
what's up, Spirit?
It's going good.
Sounds good. I mean, we're doing good. Sounds good. I can't talk.
It's been a
no, because you know what? My mind was like, yeah.
Like, go on.
Doesn't Spirit's like a talk show host? He'll just ease you in.
Velvety smooth.
Thank you.
Yeah, like all like suave.
But I gotta ask, man. So the whole situation on that Saturday, like, that was mad.
That was crazy.
It's like, literally, I was watching your stream. I was watching your stream, and then like my sister sent me the video, and then that's when I came back and wrote it in chat. But I really didn't think it would get that far. Like, I really didn't.
I did. You know why I did? I'm gonna tell you right now why I did, Spirit. Because the left have been indirectly calling for violence for years. For years, they've been saying all kinds of shit, and you got to understand that people, a lot of people, I'm gonna use the term, and people have to. I'm sorry, it's gonna be offensive. They're stupid dickheads, and they believe whatever the mainstream media says. And if CNN keeps telling people this guy's a threat,
that's how we got to this point.
If they keep telling people that a guy is a threat to democracy, then those dumb, emotional, idiotic dickheads, what they're gonna do is they're gonna take that seriously, and they're gonna want to be a hero and put an end to that threat. And when you have Joe Biden saying he would beat Trump up behind a gym or whatever, what do you think is gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? Of course they're gonna you know what's funny? People like Alex Jones, whether you want to call him crazy or not, or Tucker Carlson, whether you like him or not, have been saying that this was gonna happen way before Trump ever got.
You want to know something about Alex Jones? Like, I was watching Alex Jones because of, like, my dad used to watch him. R.I.P. Dad. Like 2010, or thank you, 2010 or 9. I didn't really understand what he was talking about because I was a kid back then. But yeah, so when I saw him getting, what was that court case, I was like, rah. I didn't really expect that from Alex Jones, but he says a lot of things that are real, man. Like he says a
Well,
lot of truth. Don't get it twisted, but yeah.
here's the thing with Alex Jones. Remember when you remember when he was talking about Sandy Hook, and God, rest the souls of the people that died in Sandy Hook. For real, rest in peace to them.
Absolutely.
But remember that he got in trouble because he was saying that it could possibly be a false flag attack or a hoax, and he ended up getting sued and has to pay like an insane amount of money to that he'll never be able to pay within his lifetime. It's like I think in the upward in the billions for saying this. But where's that same energy with the left that are now saying that Trump's assassination attempt was a ruse or a hoax or whatever? Those people should, if Alex Jones gets to be fucking sued for billions, and those people who are saying it's a hoax should also get sued for insane, absurd amounts of money as well.
Oh well, we all know why, because he's a conservative.
Yeah, exactly.
And conservatives get treated differently.
Let me tell you something dumb though.
Situation, they're gonna try and act like, no, we wasn't treating you differently when we was in power. It's like, yeah, you're only saying that because you know you're about to lose the election. Like cancel culture, like people with conservative values being kicked out of certain industries. It's like, nah, you can't run away from that and try and act like we didn't see you do them things. But
yeah, it's gonna come back to bite them. But let me say this as well, because I wanted to mention it before. People, and it's kind of related to Sandy Hook. It's just I find it kind of sad. The company that manufactured the guns, right, that were used, were sued and it killed the company. The company was Remington. Remington is a super famous gun manufacturer. Like I don't know if you know, but like Resident Evil, like the shotguns are like Remingtons a lot of times and stuff like that. So they got sued so badly because of Sandy Hook that their business got destroyed. It ended their business. I don't know how long it's been around, but it seems like they've been around forever. And for a company to go down for a person's irresponsibility using a weapon, I find is completely irrational and extremely unfair, considering a gun is just a tool. You can't blame the manufacturer for the idiot that used the gun to do violence. But
I really hate that argument because it's very clear. Like a gun's not gonna go off and fire by itself now, is it?
Exactly. But the fact that I just find it kind of like heartbreaking that a multi-million-dollar company, not to be like a corporate slave, but a company that's been around that long, who manufactures weapons that the government themselves use, to be put out of business because people are emotional and want to blame somebody. It's like, I get that, but that doesn't mean it's okay to destroy the lives of people that did not take part in that issue. Because again, like the police officers that carry weapons like pistols or whatever, are you like the same weapons that will defend this country are the same ones that can be used for violence against innocents. So why should a company be held accountable for something that an idiot did? It's like the argument of using video games as a reason why people do violent attacks or something.
And or just being a bad parent and being lazy, but you just want to blame it on games.
Yeah, because you're crying, you're emotional, you're sad because innocents got hurt. You're like, I want to blame somebody. I'm gonna blame video games. I'm gonna blame manufacturers. How about we blame the society that cultivated this? Not the fucking. So, but my point is that shows you how.
Real quick, what's up, King Turk?
Yo, King Turk.
Hello.
Turk.
What's up, Rolls Royce?
Rolls Royce 24. But yeah. So to me, like, we gotta have some logic and common sense here, and I think that if you can sue Alex Jones for what he did, then you should be able to sue these people who are talking crazy online about how it was a hoax, because an innocent person died and had their head, and I hate saying it because it sounds rude, but this guy's like, the fact that the medical examiner said that there was brain matter everywhere is sad. That's heartbreaking, and an innocent firefighter lost his life, fire chief.
For real, it really is.
So protecting his family, firefighter. Yeah,
just trying to support his candidate of choice, and it's like that's like fucked
Not
up.
to mention the other people that were
like
injured
that over some fucking nut job.
A couple of other people were
some
seriously.
people on the internet
who were hit.
Yeah, Like I've seen
Yeah.
some people on the internet completely disregard that man's death. And
Yeah,
it's
like
absolutely
Destiny,
disgusting.
like
Yeah.
that whole ass bitch Destiny.
Oh god,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
It's
that
like
that piece of
after
shit,
that, it's
man.
like after that I don't want to debate you. I just want to smack you up after talking like that. Like
yeah, it's crazy.
disrespecting dead people. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, nah, there's no more talking now. You need a
Yeah,
slap. Straight.
exactly, and that's my whole point. It's like if you like that was an innocent person whose family should be suing the shit out of people that were saying that's a hoax. Imagine you're burying your father,
Hell yeah.
and your widow is burying you, and you have idiots online saying they don't care, like Destiny saying, oh fuck the guy who died or whatever, and you have idiots saying things like it was a hoax, it was ever. Tell that to the guy whose brain matter was splattered on other people sitting next to him. Like, it's insane. It's insane. So if you
You know what?
can
You
be
know what they
sued, if you can
should
be
do? There
sued
should
for
be
millions, then they should be
a
sued for
lawsuit
millions.
where these people who are claiming that a stage is a hoax, they got to pay $1 million, like Alex Jones has to.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Why
That's
is it
what
a,
I'm
why is
getting
it?
at. That's exactly what I'm saying. They should also be held accountable. That's that it reminds me of Pelosi, where it's like, oh, everyone wear a mask, social distance, but I gotta get my hair did. And then when she fucking goes to get her hair did, she gets exposed, and then she blames the shop owner instead of taking responsibility when she was the one who actually went in there and wanted that.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of hypocrisy you're dealing with. These are the people that
She was
are
saying,
trying
and
to tell.
she was also saying, like, oh, Trump is not above the law, and it's like, then you going out doing this.
Yeah, neither are
Just
you.
to get your hair done. This old ass woman want to get her hair done. It's really that important. But then you want to talk about, oh, our lives are at risk. We gotta take drastic measures and all sort of shit. It's virtual signaling from the left as usual, which they've been doing for years. And
but it's rules for everyone else, but
there's
no
no
rules
accountability.
for them. Rules for you, not for me. That's why these people are hypocrites. Like,
I think I heard about that situation. Isn't that the woman who made that ice skating rink with taxpayers' money?
I don't think so. I'm not sure, but I don't know about that. I just know that isn't she a senator?
Nah, I think she's a mayor.
No, Nancy Pelosi's a congresswoman, right?
No, it's about a mayor, a crooked mayor that basically it was her birthday, but there was some sort of meeting she was supposed to go to, but she didn't go because it was her birthday. Apparently, I thought that's what he was referring to.
Was it the mayor of Chicago at the time?
I'm talking about somebody else. It's basically a woman who is like, she's like a very far left Democrat, and she's talking about how
she's a representative.
I think she's a House representative. Isn't that a congresswoman then?
Yeah. She's a congresswoman.
I need to go do my research, but I heard something similar to that.
But anyway, the point is that she wanted to get her hair done during COVID. They were doing social distance. She's on TV, on the internet, everywhere, screaming about how we have to protect people's lives. But then again, she has all these stores are closing down. People can't fucking like go to their jobs and shit. But because she wants to get her hair done, she gets
losing
special
businesses and all that.
Yeah, businesses being destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to get her hair fucking done. Then when she gets called out for it. Here's the part that gets me crazy about it. She got called out for it, and then she blamed the shopkeeper. These are the people you're dealing with. like that's what I'm saying. Like,
too long, and it cost me my reputation.
Like, what? How do you blame? That shit is insane to me. Like, that is insane that you're the one who's pushing for these what is it called, like, not like a law, like these like conditions, policies, conditions where people are not able to fucking operate their businesses, but you're the same person who can't go without their hair being fucking done. What are you like? And then you're blaming the shopkeeper. Like, that's insane to me. That's insane.
Yep.
That's like you get your hand.
What are your thoughts on the assassination attempt?
Well, it was quite frightening, and I'm glad that Trump survived.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same here.
My grandparents actually met him at Florida back in 2004.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. But yeah, like You know, it's
Sorry,
it's
Jinpachi.
horrible.
I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just like delay, I
No,
think.
I was just gonna say that it's like having your hand caught in a cookie jar, and then you blame your mom for putting the cookies in there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever, like, or whoever, like, it's
Well,
just
the
dumb. That's what I
excuse,
was gonna say.
the dog ate my homework.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's fucking silly. I think the whole thing's silly, and I think that like now we realize how I think people are waking up to how silly and overly emotional these people are, because I say this all the time. People act like the sides are created equal. You can have two different sides
Definitely or not.
of anything, and there can be people that are. You have two sides of anything, and you can have extremists on either side. But when one side is offended by normal two-parent families, and the other side is offended because they don't want to have drag queens dance on their kids, you can't pretend that's the same argument. You can't pretend that's the
They're
same.
offended by a McDonald's ad
Yeah,
in Japan,
yeah,
and then they get but then they're all for men in women's clothing shaking their ass next to a 3-year-old.
yeah. Like you can't blame one side for wanting businesses to be open because because they don't think COVID is as serious as the government's making it out to be, and they want the personal accountability because, again, like, if if you don't want to wear a mask and you putting your life on the line, that should be your decision. Even though we all know COVID was overblown anyway. But anyway, like, but then the other side is saying, hey, this guy died, so we want to burn down your city. You can't pretend these are the same. You can't pretend these are the same, like, equal arguments, and both sides are just as bad. I think when you do that, it's incredibly disingenuous, and I think that a lot of those people are just afraid to take a stance because they don't want to get ganged up on. I really feel like that's really what it comes down to, because two sides are not always created equal. Everyone has their perspective, but their perspectives are not always. They're just not always equal. They're just not. You can't. There's always a different side of things. It doesn't mean that it's worth defending or that it's valid. And I think people need to understand that reality.
Wow. But thank God that Donald Trump is alive, man.
Thankfully.
Because like how close that bullet was, like it, like sent like a centimeter or two away. If he did not turn his head, it would have been over.
But let me tell you something crazy, Spirit and Christian and Revenant.
I
Everyone
saw
here.
I forgot what the video was from. I can't remember who it was, but it kind of like it was like, oh yeah, it was from Paul Joseph Watson, where he showed like I forgot who it was from. He showed like a clip from someone else. It would basically show like, I think it was like a balloon or something like that, like how like close it was, and it's crazy. Like within like seconds, like insane.
Well, I want to tell you something about that.
Then you got people still thinking a stage. It's crazy.
Well, they freeze framed the video with and you can actually see the bullet. You can actually see the bullet in some images, which is crazy. But anyway, here's the point I'm trying to make. If he wouldn't have turned his head the last second, yes, it would have been over for him. But these are what people are not understanding. The bullet missed Trump and hit the fire chief was hit further down past Trump. That means the fire chief was farther away than Trump was, right? To the shooter. The fire chief that got shot, his brain matter was exposed from a farther distance. If Trump would have been hit by that bullet on TV, you would have saw this man's head fucking pop. You would have saw his head like open up. It's not like
explode.
You know what I'm trying? Not like not,
part of it, like a good part of it.
I wouldn't say explode, but you would have saw a big piece of his head blown off, which is crazy how close everyone was to seeing that kind of fucking violence real time live. Like it would have been insane.
Something like that. That's horrific to just think about. Like envision.
Because think about it. If you imagine the person who's further down has their head opened up and they're farther from the target, the bullet is going to have more power closer to the shooter. So who knows? Like that would have been horrific. That would have been a horrific scene. Like not just because he died, but because of like the gore factor, like the like the morbidity of it would have been insane, man. I'm so glad that he got lucky and he turned his head, because that shit would have been bad.
Yeah. No, it's just unfortunate, the what's his name, Corey Competore. the firefighter,
Rest
unfortunately,
easy, sir.
it misses one person, but then it's gonna hit someone else, and that's kind of what the reality was gonna be in a situation like that, because you had a rally, all these people are surrounded, so
Not to mention,
that,
2 other people were seriously injured.
The Secret Service, yeah, that too, yeah. That's why the Secret Service, they had to have done a better job. They clearly didn't, because I saw a video where they would, people come in there, they get checked out. I think, what was it that he had? It's not binoculars, it's something else that
A
shooters
rangefinder.
actually use.
Rangefinder.
The people were saying, yeah, that, yeah, where he had
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
all they said about to another security guard, or I think it was like a Secret Service agent, that
Quick
just
question.
keep an eye out for him, or just look after him or whatever. But then he goes on this
Yo, guys, quick
sloped
question.
building.
Sorry
where
to cut you off.
clearly
Quick
see
question.
him.
How
Yeah.
does rangefinder work in real life?
That's right.
As far as, so I'm not an expert on it, but as far as I know, it helps you calculate the distance between you and your target, and then and then you would have to adjust your rifle to make the shot. So a lot of shooters, they'll use I'm not like a shooter like that. So from what I understand, that it kind of reflects that he wasn't a great shooter, because 150-meter shot should be fairly not too hard for an experienced shooter, a good shooter. But
sorry for interrupting.
No, you're fine. But also, I believe that the rangefinder will help you calculate distance, wind, just how to make the shot. Basically, it helps you calculate what you need to do to make the shot. It's called a rangefinder. I'm not super.
Yeah, he also had he was wearing a shirt from
oh
it
shit!
was someone who
Apollo's right.
Some guy who handled. Was that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, about he was in a Black Rock
but
video.
he was wearing that was deleted, and not long after the shooting, so they're trying to cover their tracks.
Or the video of him denigrating Republicans in the street, which for some reason I can't seem to find that anywhere.
There was a video. You can also find it from Liberal Hive Mind on YouTube, where he showed a part where the classmate was obviously former classmate, was interviewed, and he said he was the shooter. He's saying in high school, smug and arrogant, kind of gave off this I'm smarter than you vibe, and because the guy who's being interviewed, he's Hispanic, but he was also pro-Trump, and he told him that. I don't think he specified exactly how the conversation came up, but the shooter did end up saying that he's dumb for thinking that, or that's a pretty dumb take or whatever, something like that. So and I actually gotta look for it now, because I forgot who it was on my the video I just uploaded yesterday about the shooting. They had pretty much broke down exactly as to why he was registered as a Republican. So I'm
I'm gonna explain right now.
He detailed it pretty well.
I'm gonna explain what it is. It's because in layman's terms, a lot of insane leftists, well, I'm saying insane, but whatever. A lot of left people, they'll register as Republicans to vote against a candidate that has the highest chance of winning, to disrupt the Republican Party. So you know how in the beginning, how in elections, one side will pick a candidate, so the Republicans have different options, and then they vote, and then they pick their candidate. That is for presidency. A lot of left people certain people will join the Republican Party just to vote against the guy that the Republicans actually want, or the best candidate. It's just to disrupt them.
Sounds like
pretty much, yeah. I'm gonna still look for the comment, because I definitely want to shout him out.
What did you say, Spirit?
When they use that excuse of that he was a registered Republican, it just sounds like you're trying to cover your tracks. When people say that, it's okay, So you expect me to believe just because he was a Republican, it has nothing to do with the Democratic Party? It's like,
Yeah,
they did
but
say they
again,
wanted him dead for years. Like President Biden said they need to put him in a bullseye. And it's like, what, you think I'm not going to think it's anyone on the left or the right just because he's a registered Republican? It's like, so
yeah, exactly. And but
it's
more
like
deep,
that
but that
kind of makes the
True.
situation moot because he tried to kill Trump.
Trump,
So
yeah,
it's
which makes
like,
no sense. It makes no
yeah,
sense. But that's what I'm saying. That like it would be like the same situation as if if you were an employee for a business and you technically work for that business, but you're only there to hire people that are bad for the job to destroy the business. That is the
yeah.
same like logic here. It's like you register as a Republican to vote for people that are horrible for the party just to disrupt them.
Oh yeah, so
So
here's a comment from Black Papa Link. He registered as a Republican in the 2022 nomination to vote against
the
Donald
nominations,
Trump.
yeah, that's what it is.
His state, his state has a closed cycle, meaning only registered Democrats can vote for the Democrat nominees, and registered Republicans can vote for the Republican nominee. A bunch of Democrats registered Republican to try and get Nikki Haley as a Republican nominee, since in the swing states, which he was from.
Yeah. So basically, what I was saying
And
in layman's terms, it's like you're voting for
yeah,
a
yeah,
nominee that is not going to be the best candidate to disrupt the party to disrupt the Republican Party. That's what it is. It's getting the
yeah.
worst people you can for the job just to destroy the the group that you infiltrated. That's all
And
it
it's
is. So
also when Apollo Patriot has said that he also donated. He donated money to
Biden,
yeah,
$15,
Biden.
wasn't it?
I think $15. Yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly. Like, but you know what it is, man. Like, what we're talking about, it revolves critical thought. You know what I'm saying? And like that's the sad thing about a lot of these political things. They use plausible deniability to confuse people. Because all right, I'm gonna put it this way. Let me just be as clear as possible. Would you agree that people are already ignoring their common sense and instincts because of propaganda and also because of conditioning? Would you guys say that that's like generally what happens these days?
Yeah,
So
people believe anything
yep.
on the internet
so
nowadays.
so let's use gaming as an example. You see Sweet Baby Ink's involved. You see that this guy's talking about modern audiences, but then you're still like, well, we have to wait and see if it's woke. That's an example of ignoring your pattern recognition because you've been conditioned to you've been kind of conditioned to like like to you've been like conditioned, you've been domesticated, you've been like your critical thinking has been turned off by propaganda.
Indoctrinated.
So indoctrinated, like, but
Mm.
also like just your critical thinking ability is just shut down because of like how you've been conditioned. That's kind of what happens with these political things where they use plausible deniability. It's like, oh well, you
Yep.
can't prove that, you can't prove that's why he was a Republican, you can't prove or whatever, but these people are not refuse to use critical thinking because they've been conditioned to like you said, believe anything on the internet, or to gaslight themselves into ignoring reality because they want their party to be, they want their person in, so they're willing to do any mental gymnastics to justify like their thoughts. It's like when you shake people's beliefs up, it shatters them. Like that's like one of the typical things that will make somebody go fucking crazy. If you shatter their worldview, they'll go like most people will snap.
Like, on X, I tell people that I like obscure media better than whatever's trending, and they go nuts.
Yeah, but back on subject on what we're talking about. Like, let's try to stick to like the Trump stuff. It's like these people they'll take whatever you say and they'll make anything that you say, whether it's factual or not, they're gonna look at it as conspiracy theory. It's made up. It's whatever. No matter how much evidence you provide, unless it's 100% concrete, such as the person himself on video telling you this, they're not going to use common sense. That's like conditioning. They're like, I don't even want to use the brainwash. I don't even want to use brainwashing. It's like they're just conditioned that way. It's like when people say like Spider-Man 2, it's like, how is it woke? They see Mary Jane's big ass jaw, they see Peter acting like a cuck, they see all this shit, and they're like, but how is it woke? That's because they're conditioned. Their brain is off. Their instincts are off. These are the people that see a lion. These are the people that see a lion and they say, hey, I'm gonna pet the lion because it's cute, negating the fact that, hey, this thing might fucking kill you. These are the people that see 100 dead bodies leading to a cave, and they're gonna say, well, how do you know the thing that killed these people are in that cave? These are these kind of people. You know what I'm saying?
You want to know something I've noticed over the week, ever since that attempt happened? I've noticed companies come out and try to say they're dropping their DEI. Has anybody noticed that?
Yeah.
Like Microsoft did it, and now who else did it? I think it was a sports company that did it this week. And
Square Enix?
Was it Square Enix? No, it was a sports company. I know Microsoft and a sports company did this week. And I've just thought, why would you do that? Why now? Like, it just seems a bit odd to
for them,
me.
it wasn't this week.
When was it?
Well, you got it.
Like, I don't know when the date was, because I heard about it this week.
Here's the thing though about corporations. Corporations go with whatever they think is the popular opinion because they're just trying to cover their ass. Corporations are soulless, most of them, and they swing with whatever the general consensus is. So for example, if you have like look at the 90s and 80s, right? Remember the 90s and 80s, all the action, all the sexy women, all the crazy violence, all the over the top heroes, all the badassery. That was the norm.
The best era.
So companies the best era. So the companies had no problem pushing that stuff out, and they didn't see anything wrong with it. As soon as vocal minorities started like yelling and crying about this stuff, they switched teams. They didn't switch teams because they at their heart felt like, oh, this is unacceptable. They said, hey, we want to make the most money. If society is shifting, let's try to cater to these people. But loud vocal groups don't necessarily represent entire fan bases, the entirety of society. So in this case, the left look really bad now. DEI is associated with leftism. Companies don't want to be involved with DEI, or at least be openly involved with them, because now they're being associated with the left, which, you know, we all have really been doing. We've been associating DEI, Microsoft, Insomniac. We've been associating them with the left, and DEI is associated with the left. So they're still probably going to do that bullshit, but they're going to now try to obscure it so that they don't seem like they're in allegiance with them. So I'm not saying that them saying they're not going to work with DEI doesn't mean that they're not going to do it. It just kind of means that they're going to obscure it more. And if you look into things like Bridge or whatever, like, I wouldn't take their words worth shit. But yeah, so that's basically what it is. The landscape is shifting, and now they're about to cover their ass. And I wouldn't even be surprised if even BlackRock tries to cover their ass. Again, if they actually do remove that stuff and it's not bullshit, even though I do think they're going to keep doing it under a different name, then despite the reason why, the fact that they're switching will still be a good. It would still be a good thing. It would still be a good thing that if they avoid it and they stay away from it, even if it is soulless. At least they're not gonna play ball with it. But they're gonna do it anyway under a different name.
Cool.
What's up, Melina Chan? How's it going? Thanks for joining.
Hi everyone. Hey, how are you guys? Hello.
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm all right. Thank you for asking.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Remind me, friends with Joey. How you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah,
I'm doing all right.
You gotta hit him with the Spanish. You gotta be like, "Que lo que, mami? Que lo que?"
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm playing. Let me stop.
Anyway, so Melina Chan, you have any thoughts on the Trump assassination, or at least like the aftermath that's been going on with it during the week?
Yes, I do. It's my perspective is more from a seer standpoint, where I'm looking at the whole entire situation, like both sides, because I personally on neither side. It's even hard to even choose like which poison is better at this point. between the two political parties, but I'm more of just doing and following my own thing. I like when it comes to the attempt, it's something about it. It's just off. It doesn't sit right with my soul. I do. I guess I'm on the. I guess with the group of people that feel like that it was a setup, or maybe it was something that I don't know. Trump wasn't in on it because I'm really bothered and upset that someone honorable and innocent was a casualty in this, and it's very unfortunate. um that's what really bothers me. And another thing that bothers me is that we've it's in history that we've had a president that was assassinated. So I just find it very weird and even foolish that when it comes to conferences and stuff like that, especially in a very public setting, that the whole area hasn't been checked. Like, oh, this is a vantage point. This could be a vantage point. Like nobody thoroughly did their job. And then just looking at the agents, they just kind of seem like in a daze and they look off. It looked off. It didn't seem so urgent, to get him out of the area and whatnot. It just reeks of
it reeks of an inside job.
yeah, yes. And I don't know if, well, I mean, I guess Trump would have to be in on it to know about it, because even the shot which looked very cool, like very nice, but I don't know, it just all seemed orchestrated for the sake of trying to push his party, to make it look, because um I know, like, Biden, he just looks like he's knocking on death's door, like he's gonna go out any minute now. And like this whole thing with Trump makes him look more stronger, and this and that really really gives like the American image, I guess, and it's just
let me say this real quick.
Can I
hold on.
Respond to that real quick?
Let me just say something real quick. All right, so you know about guns.
Let me
right?
quickly just say what's up to Mermac. Anyway,
so Melina, you know how weapons are, right? Like with guns, where like they're very sensitive to things like wind resistance, distance, bullet drop, and things like that, right? So it's undeniable that he got hit by a bullet. There's images that are freeze framed, like, and you can see the warped, bullet. Like you can see the bullet, like, on some screenshots, some images. If you're sniping somebody, so for this to be like an inside job to benefit Trump, it would have to imply that Trump knew he was going to get shot in the ear, and know that was going to be like a thing that would lead to him doing that imagery. But again, even for the best snipers, to calculate that distance where like even a split second can cause his death, via headshot, I find it unlikely that he would willingly let somebody shoot him in the ear, or for that image. I just find that like it's too tight of a shot, and especially when you consider the trajectory of the bullet to have hit him in the ear versus the fact that he turned his head last second. It doesn't, I couldn't imagine that was planned. Like, I don't care how good of a shooter you are, when you're at a certain distance, there's that, to hit somebody perfectly in the ear and calculate it with them turning their head is just implausible. For me personally, it's implausible. I think that it could have been an inside job, but I don't think in the benefit of Trump. I think that, so to what you're saying, I agree that it does seem fishy, but what I think happened is, I think there's more than one ways to set somebody up. One thing is, people always assume with like setups and traps like that it means that everything was orchestrated, the killer was hired, all this stuff. Sometimes sometimes it's about exploiting a situation to benefit you. So for example, and these people could know that there's an attempt on Trump's life, then command the Secret Service to act inappropriately, giving a window for the shooter to kill Trump. It doesn't necessarily mean that the setup happened at every stage from the government per se. You get what I'm getting at? It's all about like opportunity and then manipulating the situation. It would be like, it would be like, all right, I'll give you an example. It would be like if I had all right, let's say it was a politician in Chicago. Hypothetically, I'm saying hypothetically, I would never do this. Let's say a politician in Chicago I wanted to take out. I know he's going to be in an inner city area with a lot of gangs or whatever. I can say, okay, I'm going to pay a middleman who's going to pay another person, a gang leader or drug dealer, to pay a kid a shit ton of money to attack this guy in this setting. And that could be a way for me to try to hypothetically assassinate that politician indirectly. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to hire a specific hitman with like a direct trail leading back to them. There are like so many ways, like, you know, playing. I call it like 4D chess. It's not necessarily like such a linear approach to how they do this stuff. So I do think it was an inside job in a way that they let this, that something went wrong where it led to an opening for this kid to do this. I just don't think that Trump planned it so that he can have that iconic image or whatever. Like I don't think that would, I don't think that anyone would intentionally let themselves be shot in the head from that distance, even if it was to like graze the ear.
That's why I said I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Raven.
No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to add to what you were had said before. I mean, I agree with what Jim Pachi was saying. I mean, that's essentially what I was gonna say. But I wanted to address the whole, like, you know, like him, like, you know, doing the fist pump and all that. My feeling is like adrenaline. You know, when people have adrenaline, I mean, like, I use an example. I mean, it's not nearly it's not the same as like if someone was got shot at or whatever, or had a bullet graze their ear or whatever. But if you watch like combat sports like MMA, when a fighter wins, you know, they're going crazy, they're doing backflips, they're dancing or whatever. That's like an adrenaline from, like, you know, or even like in other cases, like it's like, you know, like kind of in the heat of the moment, and, you know, for him, he's at a rally. It's a cool image, but it's like, I don't think his mind was like, you know what, you know, almost ended my life. You know, it would be cool. Let me just put my fist up or whatever. I think it's like, again, it's like, he knew like who was trying to do it. Obviously, he didn't know exactly what the shooter looked like or whatever, but I mean, it doesn't take a genius to know it was someone who was clearly on the left trying to take him out, and he survived. So it's kind of like adrenaline of it all. And to add on to what Jim Pachi was saying, where like it wouldn't make sense for him to be in on it, because he was beating, you know, Biden in like debates and everything. It's like it wasn't necessary. It wouldn't be necessary. And then on top of that, you know, you're putting other people's lives at risk just to, you know, do like, you know, what would be like a publicity stunt. And it just wouldn't make sense. So that's pretty much it. But oh yeah, I'm sorry, real quick. Spirit of Paradox, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you coming on. So
yeah, man. And hey, if your phone charges back before the podcast is over, you know, you're always welcome to come back on. So
and Octo Commander, I'm gonna rotate the panel. As a matter of fact, Christian, I'm gonna put you in the backstage, and I'm gonna bring on Rolls Royce and Octo Commander, and I'll rotate it back, and I'll bring you back on, because
okay.
we got two other topics, so I'll definitely have you back on so you can paint on them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was just saying that if it was a conspiracy,
anyway,
of some kind,
Melina-chan, what were you gonna say?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh. Well, that's why I said I don't know how much he knows. I mean, I don't really know. I can't assume and just say, oh, this is that and that's what this is. I can only make you know, theories and like speculations, and just go based off of, you know, what was been shown, like what was been given, and like my intuition. And I know that's not concrete proof, which is why, I mean, it's easy for them to pull, like for anybody to pull off stunts or like anything to, you know, set up for whatever the point or the agenda is, because until someone just outright says it that was there as a witness, like behind the scenes and whatnot, no one's going to ever truly know. But that's why I just like, I don't know how much he knows, or like if he's in on it at all, because clearly, yeah, if someone were to tell me, okay, what we're going to need you to do is to push your agenda, or like your party and whatnot, we're gonna need you to get shot. Of course, clearly he wouldn't agree to that. I wouldn't. So that's why I don't know how much he knows, but it's just it's still just weird to me. But it's working though, because like you guys had said earlier, like a lot of people that were left are voted for right. So I feel like whatever this is, it's working. And I honestly look at, that's why I'm not on anyone's side. I just follow the beat of like my own path, because I don't look I look at politicians as celebrities. They're basically celebrities, they're just they're celebrities in like the political world, and how they navigate through is money. Like if you just take them and just like a known Hollywood actor, actress, or music artist, they're not really any different, because the world is ran by money. At this point, you don't really have to have any political backgrounds or like education. You could just have enough money and you could become president, so it doesn't take much. And I just wouldn't want anyone to idolize someone, like to go hell and back for someone, and they look at you as a casualty. Like if you compare them and a music artist, the only way they could win in office to become president or whatever that they're trying to be is they have to have the people on their side. Like a music artist is never going to get successful. They're not going to be mainstream. They're not going to have their music playing on the radio and make sales like albums or do concerts and shows if they did not have an audience to support them. So it all leads back to the worker ants, the regular people, where it's those that, everyday people that truly make the difference. Otherwise, the people in power they wouldn't really be nothing without us. So it's just it's just weird that if you go to that extent, and then look what happened with the assassination attempt situation. An innocent man got killed in this, and then no one's really paying that too much mind. Everyone's focused on the discourse over the shooting, and no one's really too much. Not saying no one isn't, but not enough is being shown to the casualty in this, and that's how it's always looked at. It's looked at as like that in movies and stuff, and like Transformers, you got all these cars exploding and there likely be someone in it, the buildings are falling apart, and no one really thinks about the casualties. So it's just like, that could be you, that could be anybody. And
a lot of people do care about the guy who died. A lot of people are talking out about like how what happened to him was messed up, such as myself and others and whatnot.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to say about that though. Like, so here's how I look at it. It's not so much about like worshiping these people, because I agree with you. I don't believe in worshiping any of them. They're all just normal people to me, and I feel like it's dangerous to like worship or idolize anybody, to a certain level. But the thing about it is that ultimately these people are going to affect your life in some way, right? So for example, under Biden, we saw what happened with taxes, with inflation, with immigration, with crime or whatever. We've seen a direct result of that. And then with Trump, you see what he says, what he wants to do, and what he did during his term. So it's not so much of the fact that I like politicians, because I don't. I also think that there's a lot of bullshit that goes on with that. But it's more so like at a certain point, you have to choose what's going to benefit you the most as a person, right? So for example, like for me, I don't want to pay more money for shit. I don't want to have higher taxes. I do not want to have, an excess of illegal immigration. I'm using the word illegal because people love to twist it and make it seem like you like dislike people from other countries or immigrants. No, I'm saying illegal immigration for the reasons of like stability and keeping the country safe, whatever. I would prefer if that stuff was handled better. So for me, ultimately, you're either gonna not vote at all, or vote for one of the two. And a lot of times you're also always voting for the lesser of two evils or not voting at all. But I'm gonna always go with what benefits me and what benefits, you know, the people that I care about the most. So that's how I look at that specific situation, you know, with Trump and Biden. But
Jim Pachi, can I address the comment real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, let me highlight it. All right. So the gunman was a registered Republican where he was at, because the reason for that is because to vote for another Republican against, say, someone like Trump. That's how it is. So if you're voting against someone, you got to register as that other party. Just like if you can only register as a Democrat, you can only vote for. You register as a Democrat, you can only vote for said Democrats within the nominations. So that's why he was registered as a Republican.
And how
he's not
and
a
why
real
he would
Republican. And on top of that, there is evidence and videos, and also interviews with former classmates from his high school saying we're a Hispanic person. We had mentioned this, talked about this a little early on in the stream. I'm assuming you didn't see, but his classmate his Hispanic classmate had mentioned that he thinks he's a good president, and the shooter ended up disagreeing. Excuse me, disagreeing with him. You know, it's the fucking pretzels I'm eating. The shooter disagreed, basically calling him stupid, more or less. And the former classmate even said that the shooter had during high school had a very know-it-all type of attitude, and would really get into politics. Was clearly a Democrat, more or less, and that's essentially what it is. On top of that, he was in a video for ESG, which from BlackRock, which was shortly deleted the same day of the shooting.
Yeah.
So no, this guy was not a pro-gun Republican. He was a nut job, clearly, and he was clearly a Democrat.
To add on to that, the specific reason they would vote, just to be clear, the specific reason they would do that is to vote for the nominee that would be the worst nominee for the Republicans, so that they have a lesser chance of winning in that state, or winning the election overall. So that's basically like the reason why he did that. There's a lot of evidence to what Revenant was saying. But anyway, beyond the point,
I know he's spamming a lot of it right now. Yeah. So he what the fuck? He voted for. I already explained about the voting, and so did Jim Pachi.
Dude, he doesn't care. He doesn't
about the classmates. The class. He does. Yeah. I know.
He doesn't care. He's just trying to derail you. You already explained the reasons.
I know. He's that the narrative is not fitting his agenda. I understand. Listen, you leftist weirdos are usually the ones who are gun crazy. Even like, for example, New York, strict gun laws, but the crime rate has gone up over the last number of years because of your boy Joe, child sniffer Biden, Sleepy Joe. That's on you guys, especially when you're voting for whoever is the mayor or the governor of New York, a bunch of Democrats that don't care about the crime that's going on, but then you want to talk about gun control and everything, and now you want to run damage control for this guy who clearly wanted to take out Trump for obvious reasons related to Democrats. Because if this was the other way around with Joe Biden, and to be very clear, I wouldn't wish this on Joe Biden or any other politician or any person in general, unless they're a complete I don't know, child predator or something like that. I don't know, but regardless,
right.
If this was Joe Biden, the media, like CNN, would not be like, security had to grab Trump because he fell.
Yeah,
man.
Right.
Well,
okay.
hold on. But I want to continue what I was saying, because this guy basically derailed it. So no, back to what I was saying to Melina, where
what's up, Cassie Cage? I'm sorry.
Where we also I get what you're saying about you want to want to like not assume anything because we don't know all the facts. But like again, like we have to think about it. Who benefits more from Trump getting potentially assassinated? Is the risk of him, looking like a martyr worth? Does it benefit the Republicans more than it benefits the left for Trump to die? Because if Trump died, who's gonna vote? Who would be the best candidate to go against Biden? Right? Why would like my point is that you have to like look at the full picture of like who benefits the most from it. And I don't think that if you really think about that, like if you really contemplate on that, I don't think that the conclusion is that the Republicans benefit from it, especially since this happened right after he clowned Biden in the debate, where even like leftists are saying that Biden looked terrible during that debate. So I feel like so for me, like what my interpretation of events is that it probably was and again, I'm saying allegedly, hypothetically, whatever. I don't think that it was necessarily a thing that where no one knew what was going on. I think there could potentially have been people that were doing an inside job, but I don't think that inside job was to Trump's benefit. I think it was to actually do the opposite and like, give the shooter an opportunity. Again, I'm saying allegedly because, obviously for legal reasons, and of course I don't 100% know for a fact. So let me be clear there. But I just don't think it would be a thing that would be beneficial enough to risk for him to purposely want to risk that. I don't even think Republicans would want to risk that, especially with how guns operate. Guns don't operate like they do in games. Like if you shoot a rifle from a certain distance, the wind just has to blow a little bit heavy for a split second, and that bullet is going to go from targeting someone's ear to blowing their head off. So I don't know, like we can't. Again, I don't know if it was an inside job, but if it was, I don't think it would be to Trump's benefit. That's my whole point.
Like I said, it was deep state. They're behind all this. I can smell it.
Yeah.
Definitely was.
It was deep state. They were brainwashing this dude. Yeah, you guys mentioned. He wasn't only by himself. There was another guy in a water tower. That was a real assassin.
Yo, call Classic Cage. What's up, homegirl?
You know what I'm saying, or what?
Homegirl. The real one.
Hey, Golf. I sent the link in the chat if you want to join and kind of give your perspective on it. You got a lot to say in the chat, so I mean, you can come on here. We allow free speech here.
So now you understand why that Mr. Crook wasn't involved alone. He was involved with another real assassin by that water tower I just saw.
Yeah.
Octo Commander, you can keep trying to come back in. I don't know what's going on, but I'll let you in.
This is crazy times we're living in, and I'm just sick and tired of these leftoids who are stupid, and they piss me off. I'm tired of disgusting behaviors. Do you think this is okay? This is okay? Like, this is not right. These people are. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to make it. I want to make it clear though that it doesn't. In a way, it doesn't matter. Like, not that it doesn't matter. It's just that you only have you only have like a few options realistically when dealing with politics. You can either take what they say at face value and then pick the best candidate, not vote at all, right? Which is like a thing that a lot of people do, or you can actually deal with, or just have to have some degree of faith that you're making the right choice. Because again, like people like this country is a republic, and we have our democracy. But again, like, to be honest, like how much can the average person really know? How much can the average person really do outside of either voting or not voting? So if I have two candidates, I have to, if I'm going to vote, I'm going to vote for like I said before, I'm going to vote for the one that benefits me or benefits whatever I believe in the most. That's inevitable. You can't, like, there's really not much leeway other than just not voting at all. So for me, it's like with like somebody like Trump or Biden, I don't like politicians at all. I think they're all fucking liars. I think most politicians are just out there for power and for themselves. But if I had to pick one, if I care about what's happening in the country, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pick between the one that is making the best argument for why they should be candidate, for presidency, or why they should be the president. So in this case, that answer for me is Trump, because what Trump is saying is what I would like to help benefit the country. Again, but I think that the key thing here is that nobody really, you can't 100% believe anybody, especially not people that are in positions of power. But you just, like I said before, you only have the 3 options. Don't vote, vote for the side you believe in, and actually just 2 options really. That's really all you can really do. Or vote for the things that you think will benefit the country, really. And I hate to say it, but that's the nature of politics. That's why I don't like electoral votes. I think that votes should come down to like the individual and how many people specifically like voted for a candidate. And that's a whole nother thing entirely. Because but that's what I'm saying now is the reason why I don't like electoral votes. So the electoral voting system. But
yeah, I understand, man. I agree with you 100%. But right now, what's been happening is crazy, man. There was an outage at my work, and Deep State were behind all this bullshit. They want this fucking outage and cyber attack. Like, what the fuck is going on? It's crazy.
Yeah. Most things in nature are obscured, right?
Yeah.
Like again, there's so many things that go on that we don't even know about that happen within government every day, that happen within Secret Service, not Secret Service, I'm sorry, CIA, all these organizations operating, because people we have the republic. A republic is supposed to be that the people control the politicians, not the politicians controlling the people. But when you think about the disparity in power and resources between this average person and the government, it's like obviously, the average person's power is much more limited, which is why things like, right to bear arms are so important. Free speech are so important, because those are the few accesses of power that we have, right? Because the government has the military, the government has the weapons, the governments make the fucking policies. The governments do all those things. So all you have as an individual is your free speech, your right to bear arms, your right to religion, freedom of religion and stuff like that. That's why they're so important to like vote for. So and to keep around,
I agree.
And I think that's the thing people miss out on. It's like, all right, I'll put it this way right now. Let's say the government decides that, hey, we're a dictatorship, right? People will say, well, that goes against the Constitution. All right, how do you enforce the Constitution? How do you make sure that government doesn't step too far? It's not like the government is gonna say to people like, "Oh yeah, we're a dictatorship now. You have the right to fire upon us." Hypothetically, obviously, I'm not, again, because people would twist this, and I don't want no legal action. But hypothetically, if they became a dictatorship, and they're not gonna go on TV and say, "Hey, the U.S. government's now a dictatorship. You are allowed to fight us with and try to stop this." They're never going to do that, because in their eyes, they're going to be making the decisions that they want to make. So that's why people need to have the rights, again, to bear arms, the right to religion, free speech, etc. That's why it's important, and you can only enforce that when you have the means to do so, right? So who has the army,
Right.
who has the tanks, who has the jets, and what do civilians have? That's like, to me, is like the deeper end of it that people don't acknowledge, right? Really.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right, man. 100% right. Like I said, Trump's gonna win this by landslide, and these fucking Democrats are having a civil war, and I love it. I love it, having their own civil war right now. The party's falling apart. I laugh at their stupid face. And I heard about Shalia Jackson Lee passed away. You guys heard?
Yeah. But that's kind of like, this stuff is kind of why I think that the real answer that no one wants to accept, because again, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong with human beings, but there's a thing of just leaving people the hell alone. If people were to just be able to leave each other alone and keep things strictly business in any professional setting. So for example, like not bringing politics into the workplace, not bringing politics into school, not bringing politics into this stuff, and let that be at the mercy of the parents and their upbringing, I think things would be better, right? It's like, so for example, right, like when you go to school, you shouldn't be learning about like DEI shit. You should be or what's it called? critical race theory and stuff. Like, you should just
Critical
be
race
learning
theory?
math, science, U.S. history from an objective perspective. You know, you should be learning those kind of things, and everything else should be taught to you by your parents or your community. I don't understand why people feel like everyone needs to enforce their beliefs on everybody else, and in such a direct and aggressive way. It's like trans people. Trans people want to say that they want to be left alone and all this shit. Okay, you can do that, but why does everybody else have to play ball with calling you by pronouns they don't believe in? What if that person's Christian? What if that person's Muslim, for example? So my whole point is that if people could just leave each other the hell alone and just stick to the communities that agree with them and that they and the communities they want to, everything will be okay. But again, they can't leave each other alone. They want to always enforce and step all over everyone's toes. That goes for right wing and left wing. And that's why this country is really fucked up in reality. It's like, if somebody wants to be a degenerate, let them be a degenerate, but don't let it affect you. Don't let it trickle into the workplace. Don't let it trickle into school. Don't let it trickle into anything that should be neutral. If you want to hang out with your community of trans people or your community of whatever thing you want to do, so be it. But when I go to fucking school, I shouldn't be forced to call somebody by pronouns. I shouldn't be forced to learn about religion if I'm in a public school. That's another example. Like, you have people advocating that Christianity should be taught in schools. I think you should just teach fucking math, science, and reading, and English, and other useful skills. What happened to that?
Yeah. Okay. Hi, guys.
Exactly.
Guys.
Hold on,
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Yeah, you good.
Okay.
What's up?
So I'm gonna try and make this pithy as possible, because right now I'm waiting for somebody. I want to get to my desktop, but I'm gonna make my point, and then I'm probably going to jump back in. I'm sorry I had to brute force my way into this. Now, in terms of people saying this is fake, okay, the assassination attempt. First of all, the problem is the assumption was made too quick for a proper peer analysis. This is based on people that have a bias. That's one problem. Number two, the other problem is that the people that are espousing this are not experts in terms of forensic investigations, right?
True.
Right. So the other problem is, look at it as a magic show. It's a controlled environment if this was staged. Now, with a magic show, they have the curtains right behind the magician. They have, or if it's outside, the magician would tell the audience or spectators, I want you to stand right here. They want to make sure that you do not have a 360 degrees perspective on the trick, right? So if you're going to have something that is planned, then what's going to happen? Somebody in the crowd is going to say, you know what? Hey, I saw him took out a blood packet and put it on his ear. Or I saw him took something from his podium, right? So if these people believe that this was staged, there's so many things that could cause an inconsistency to occur. So that's one problem with the whole argument of it being staged. Number two, the photo with the flag. That flag was not supposed to be there. They didn't have enough experience or enough Secret Service. So one of them would have said, wait a minute, that flag is not supposed to be there. Because the thing is, when you have a flag, that is a good reference for a sniper to look at the windage so that they can determine where they're supposed to set their sights, right?
Okay. Yep, that's true.
Right.
That's a good point.
Right. So the thing is, the thing about this whole thing, it's just a tactically unsound scenario. And the other problem is, you can't just aim at somebody and expect something to hit. Snipers, spec op guys, they are trained to hit center mass. The headshots, that stuff is in the movies. Of course, if a sniper is prone, they have a bipod, the target is still, they're sitting there or whatever, they can probably get a headshot. But if you are going to convince me that somebody decided, hey, you know what? How about you shoot me in the shoot close to me, probably get me in the air, and we're good. You can't do that. Not even
That's
the
what I'm saying.
pros.
That's
Right,
what I was
right. And
saying
the other.
before, because
Mhm.
it's such a slippery slope with how you calculate bullets that it's improbable. And like you said about the curtain, remember this guy
Exactly.
was not standing behind the wall. It was a 360-degree view of the entire crowd. So like whatever they tried to do to obscure and add a blood packet or whatever would have been extremely hard to do real time. You know?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So
So
this whole thing of it being staged, the whole flag thing being shown in the background, everything. Trump just went out there because he's born in the wrong time. That guy is a Viking. That guy is
Yeah.
a knight. Yeah, because he would be the guy that would be wearing armor with arrows in his suit, and he would pick up the flag and
Yeah.
tell his troops, my ass is still around. So he did that fist pump to let people know, let them know I'm here, I'm still alive. He's controlling the environment. He's letting everybody know, do not panic, do not freak out. I got this. The Secret Service guys told him they got him. So he said, you know what? All right, stop. Let the people know that I'm good. And that's one of the reasons why this country needs this man. Because
those were my sentiments exactly. That it's like, it's like when the leader, it's like you cut off the head of a snake, the body dies or whatever. This, we cut off the head, the Hydra, the body dies. It's kind of like the same thing. It's like if he's the leader, you're there to see him. If he assures everyone he's okay, that's gonna reinforce the people's spirits rather than him cowering off and you don't know what happened. That's gonna the leader, like that's why a lot of them forces back in olden times they would try to kill the commanders and lieutenants first so that the army scrambles. So of course he's gonna do that fist pump, let everyone know that he's okay or whatever.
Yeah.
And again,
right.
And again, I don't here's my thing. I just want to make it clear because I support Trump because he's basically pushing for the things that I want. It doesn't necessarily mean that I like Trump as a person per se, even though I think he's a decent dude. It's more so it's not an infatuation or love of Trump. It could be anybody saying this. As long as the person is saying these values and whatever, and these are what they're lobbying for, then I'm gonna support them based on values, not on the person. If Trump is a little mean on Twitter, but he's right for the country, to me that's a better alternative than somebody like Biden who's smiling, talking about ice cream, for example, but the country falls to shit. That's always been my perspective on it.
Exactly.
And I think that's what people often lose sight of is that we're voting for a policy. We're not voting on who's gonna be your best friend. You know what I mean? You're not voting on who's gonna go to your barbecue. You're voting on who's gonna help the country. And to me, the guy who wants to fucking lower taxes and help and is offering policy that's for the better, then that's the guy I'm gonna vote for. And like I said before, we don't know.
That's how it should be.
We have to take some bit of their word for it because we're not behind a curtain. Ultimately, you can only vote for what you believe in or not vote at all. That's the only options you have. That's really like the bare minimum of it.
Yup.
Right.
So,
Here's the
and the other
thing.
thing is, and here's the other thing. There's other things that is really messing up with me. 3 things. First, the guy's phone has 3 encrypted foreign accounts. Why is a 20-year-old having encrypted foreign accounts? That is something where you have to talk with some kind of agent from a foreign country. That's one. Or probably even the inside. Number 2, there was a issue of short selling Trump's stock of his Truth Company. So of course, when they short sell, they're counting on some kind of calamity. It was a bearish move. They said, all right, let's short sell because something's going to go down, right? So they probably might have been told something's going to happen, but whatever. They're not going to probably tell most of the investors Trump is going to die because one of those investors might grow a conscience or probably is okay with Trump. And then they say, you know what? Trump, listen, the Secret Service, we got to get this guy off the stage. Something bad is going to go down, right? They could have reported it to the Secret Service. So That's one. That's the second thing. The last third thing that's bothering me is they might actually be a second or even third shooter.
That's what I just said. Exactly right. You just mentioned
Potentially, yeah. Potentially,
yeah, exactly. He wasn't working alone.
But
and I knew it.
Yeah,
it might not even be a
him not working alone is definitely there.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. It only takes negligence. Like, all right, I'll give you an example. You know, in prisons where they sneak shit in, or like they have like corrupt officers or whatever, correction officers or whatever. All it takes is for them to turn a blind eye so that you could get away with what you want to do. Because like an accomplice doesn't necessarily have to be the guy that's like directly involved in what you're trying to do. It could be something as simple of not securing a certain building. It could be something like not locking the doors, right? Not like you know what I'm saying? So I think that even if he had accomplices, even if it wasn't another shooter, it could have been a spotter. It could have been somebody who basically like controlled the environment in the sense of like not having a certain building being guarded, letting the guy in, you know, not reporting somebody. Like that's really like all it takes for a lot of bad things to go down. So I wouldn't even be surprised if his accomplice wasn't another shooter, but just again, like I said before, like people being negligent on purpose to create those windows.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly that the shooter, the one that got shot, found a perfect, a good tactical vantage point, an elevated position where they can get the target, and they also found what they call a target package in his phone. So it seemed like the first one was supposed to be Trump, and the next guy they're supposed to take out is Biden, because they found both pictures of Biden and Trump. And so it just seems like
wasn't Biden his like lock screen photo or something like that? Wasn't that what it was? Like his like lock screen was Biden.
Oh,
I don't know. I could be wrong. I could have sworn I heard that was like his lock screen photo or something. Like his
did it have hearts? Did it have hearts and
I
you know, Hello Kitty and stuff like that? And a little winky eye.
Because I don't even know if what I'm saying is true. I don't even know if what I'm saying is true, bro. Like I heard somewhere that it was like his lock screen or something. I don't know, but like,
right.
But again, so let's take Biden out of it. Biden has obviously been like a fucking puppet. I don't care what anyone says. It's pretty blatant that like the guy is lost. He constantly reads off teleprompters. Like this guy
barely does that.
Barely does that. Can't think straight. Like he's a figurehead. So it could be that Biden is expendable in a way, and that basically like that Biden's expendable, and that the people that could have potentially been behind this, they want to get rid of him because they want their own person in there, or a different person in there. And then by getting rid of Trump too, now they have nobody to oppose them strongly enough to like, you know, undo what they're doing.
No, actually, that kind of does make sense, because what's going on right now is, so of course last week everybody was talking, all the Democrats were telling Biden, you got to step down, you got to go, you're not going to win against Trump, right? Now, the other thing is why it kind of makes sense that they probably want to get rid of Biden and add this third element, this third actor. Now, they have an issue with the war chest. $240 million just sitting there from the campaign to get Biden in. They got this $240 million war chest, and they're trying to find a way how to get that money. And that's one of the things that they're talking about. So supposedly Biden has to be nominated so that the funds can be allocated. But the thing is that there probably might be a way for them to get the money and have Biden step down, because it was like you have the comedians character assassinating Biden, and all these different people are trying to get rid of him, and it's just like one is character assassinated and the other is literally assassinated. So failed, and thank God he failed. But it's just like they want this third actor to get the funds so that it's most likely whoever these people are, they weren't expecting Trump to be around, because you had the Secret Service lady cowering behind everybody, and everything was just almost like a shit show. And then of course you got the snipers, the counter snipers, probably being ordered to hold fire, but
I heard they
only
were told to stand down.
Oh God. Yeah, that really pissed me off. And I know who's behind these people you mentioned, Octo Commander. It's deep fucking state. It's
But
them.
listen. I want to make a point though, right? Let's be more direct about this, right? Who all right, if you get rid of Trump, you have basically the strongest, and when I say strongest, I mean as far as popularity. It might not be on the issues, but he's definitely the strongest in popularity Republican right now. Clearly.
Yeah.
If you get rid of him, the Republicans don't have anybody with enough renown to be able to have the popularity to win an election. Because you'll be hard pressed to tell people to think of any other candidate besides maybe RFK. I don't know if RFK is a Republican, right? But,
no, he's independent.
Oh, he's independent. So aside from Trump, it's like you'll be hard pressed to think of a candidate.
Maybe Ron DeSantis, but
Ron DeSantis,
he's not running.
That's what I'm saying. So. He's not running. He's not running. So exactly, that's what I'm saying. And then you look at the Democrat side. If they get rid of Biden, the vice president becomes president. Who is their vice president?
Huh? They're scrambling right now.
But who is their vice president? It's Kamala Harris. But check it out. Check it out.
Well, yes, that's the chain of command, the structure in Washington. But that's going to be her for whatever months before.
I know. But here, I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere with this. What does the Democrats and leftists? What do they usually argue about? They don't care about the practicality. They care more about the optics, right? Like, for example, like all the DEI shit is not about merit. It's about optics. What is Kamala Harris?
An optic.
Kamala Harris is a black woman, which coincides with the DEI. So if they get rid of Trump,
I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you all this. I'm born from Jamaica, right? And that woman is not black. All right. First of all, look at the term West Indies. West Indians. When they set up when they had that name set up, they showed up to the shores. They saw a group of people that were similar colored hair and skin like the Indians over in India. That's one of the reasons why they call it the West Indies. Second, the other thing is Kamala Harris was on one of those small radio shows where not the television interviews when she was voted for the DA when she was in California. She said the news reporters asked, how does it feel to be the first Indian woman? And Kamala said, it feels good. It's just like she affirmed and accepted it.
But that's not even my point, though. But I get where you're going, but that's not even my point. My point is that she's a woman of color. She's, in a sense, she's not a white person. She's not white. She's a woman of color that's female, which coincides with DEI. The vote they're trying to get are obsessed with DEI over merit. They don't care. It's like you get what I'm trying to get at. So if you have if you don't have a person to run against her, a strong enough candidate.
Hold on. All right, I gotta step out. I'll be right back. You can bring Chris back to the chat, okay?
All right.
Sorry. All right. Go on, dude.
So with what's going on here, it's like, all right, imagine you get rid of, hypothetically, you get rid of Trump. You don't have a strong Republican candidate now. No, at least somebody without enough name recognition to really have a true fighting chance. Then now you get rid of Biden, Kamala becomes president. Whether people like her or not, a lot of the leftists are familiar with Kamala and vote for her. So then,
and
now
they'll
you have
be like, this is our chance to have a female president, the first ever
of color,
and then they'll also use color, so it checks all the boxes for the voters who are dumb enough to think
to vote just for those reasons.
To vote based off of that, but then also for other people behind the scenes who are gonna want to push that because again, she checks all the boxes.
Exactly.
Where Biden does not.
Exactly. And then the Republicans themselves, they have a tough time finding a candidate that they all can get behind. That's why Trump was like, you know how they are. You know how Republicans are. They like a lot of times they don't even agree with each other.
That's why they were losing for the past number of years before Trump.
Exactly. So my whole thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if this was all just to get Kamala to have a full-on term with nobody to properly run against her, and with no one properly to run against her. Because unfortunately, a lot of just think about it. A lot of people don't go by the issues. They just go by how they feel. Trump doesn't talk super nice, so he must be a bad guy, negating the image, whatever. And that if that's how you vote and how a lot of these people vote, then that's gonna basically like. I wouldn't say it'll hand them the election. I'm sure it'll still be close, but it would put things far better in their odds over having Biden in there. So if you want to make the argument that they were both targets, that's what I would assume would be the game plan. I would assume that's what the game plan is.
Yeah, that's true. But from what I heard is they also try and get rid of Kamala Harris too.
Okay, I don't really know. All I know is about. All I know
I didn't
is
hear
like
about that though.
All I know is about what has happened with Trump's assassination, and I try to look at who benefits the most. If you follow who benefits the most from it, I feel like those are the conclusions I come to with the information that we have. But again, like I said, like Melina pointed out, which is a very good point that she said, is like we don't have all the information, so and ultimately we don't really know. You know what I mean? We don't actually really fully know.
That is true.
Yep, that's true.
So she's 100% right there. I wanted to mention what I said, but not to negate her point because it is true. We don't ultimately know.
Yeah, I didn't know it. Yeah. So we're gonna move on to the next topic, but before we do, I think everyone really gave good points.
I agree. Everyone made a good
point. So good perspectives, and Octo Commander broke a lot of it down. Perfectly, I would say, but so yeah, I don't know if he's listening, but Christian Frades wants to come back on because we're going on to the next topic. He's free to do so, or if anyone wants to join, just let me know. Or the link is also in the chat because I saw some people having a few choice words. So if you want to defend your position, you're more than welcome to. We can pivot the previous topic. But anyway.
Yep.
So and keep it ad hominem free, please.
Concord, they had a that too, yeah.
Argue your points. If you're gonna come on here and talk shit or whatever,
Concord. Just argue your points and try to not keep it full of ad hominems, and we should be good. But if not, then it won't be tolerated. Simple as that.
Right.
All right. So back to what you're saying, Rev.
If you want to use a bunch of steal a bunch of nonsense, you can do it on your own platform. But here we're gonna do things in an efficient way. Anyway, so Concord had an open beta during the week. I think it was Thursday they had it. And it was not, the numbers were not good at all. The same thing happened with their closed beta. That didn't do well. I think, didn't we talk about this briefly when we first went live?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so I don't have to repeat that again. So with Concord, I'm sure you guys know what that game looks like and how it plays. It's another, hero shooter with a bunch of
if you could call
terrible looking characters, and it was criticized from. Yeah. They look like journalists, just like self-insert journalists. The characters have pronouns, including a robot character. So it's definitely for the modern day audience, and the numbers really reflect that because that's pretty much what it's marketed towards, and the numbers reflect. You're gonna get that. You want the modern day audience? Well, there you go. Here it is, and I don't think it's gonna be much of a difference when it launches.
All three
I
of
don't
them.
remember when it's launching. Yeah, yeah. So, and to be clear, this game is coming out on PS5 and PC. I believe the beta closed and open beta was for PC and PS5. The numbers I think were shown for PC, which were abysmal. I don't think it's much of a difference on PS5. I know some people probably may use the argument, well, on PS5, I'm sure it's a lot more people. You can't just judge it off of PC. Well, yeah, you can't just judge it solely on PC. The same way about Suicide Squad with the Justice League, Kill Justice League. On PC, the numbers are terrible. I don't think it's much of a difference on consoles. On consoles, yeah, I probably have couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand more players, but other than that, I don't think it's going to be like this drastic difference with regardless of which platform. And I think that's the same with
Probably
Concord.
not. Probably not. Yeah. Probably not going to have the overall views that they think, or rather players than they think it's going to have.
Like I said, I'd rather not play that game. That game is a giant F.
It's a giant ass. Is it a giant pair of ass cheeks, like clapping as it like runs away?
Yeah, I vote with my wallet. Say hell no. Fuck that. I'm like, fuck that. I'd rather play classic games than that bullshit. Get that shit out of here.
That shit is ass.
True.
Yeah.
Or other games similar to it.
But yeah. So I mean, look, man. Like we talked about it earlier. I just like. What could that game like? That game was like destined. I feel like those games are destined to fail. It's like you keep trying the same thing over and over again, and it just keeps failing. Like it just keeps flopping. I don't even know what else to say anymore. It's like bad propaganda game is bad. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to even like say anything that has any kind of like to say anything different about it, that I haven't said about other games. You're trying to appeal to an audience that doesn't exist. Then you get mad when it doesn't sell, and then you blame the people that didn't want to buy it. But again, if you're making crap, you can't be mad at the people who don't want to eat crap.
Exactly. Beautiful words, facts and based. They don't understand that shit. Exactly the point.
So to me, it's like you look at Concord, you look at like the visuals of the game. Then on top of that, these live service games, like even if the game was, all right, let's say it didn't have DEI crap in it, those games are hit and miss because a lot of people, believe it or not, don't like to play those games. They don't like service games. They don't want to invest in a live service of any sort, or like
yeah,
or
it's
like
pretty risky.
Or like
I think they're a new studio as well.
Yeah, so it's like you're making
like your first game, or at least your first big game, and it's like this is it.
You're making a game in a genre that's already niche, and everyone's trying to copy Fortnite, Fortnite is like the most successful one, really. And if you think about it, Fortnite is successful also because of the crossovers and shit. So it's like you can have all those things play out, right? You can try to copy Fortnite, but your game will never be Fortnite. It will never be whatever what's it called, Overwatch. Like just because one game succeeds doesn't mean that it's gonna be it doesn't mean that genre is gonna necessarily be booming either. And I just feel like generally those games do bad, they're risky, and then you're alienating people by putting in a bunch of shit that no one asked for. Like for example with The Last Descendant, at least it has like fan service. At least it has fan service. Like what the First Descendant. Why I said The Last Descendant? I keep saying that. The Last Samurai. Now, let me. Like the First Descendant. At least it has fan service. Like what does? And they're all greedy. They're all greedy games. But at least that one has fan service. What does Concord have in it that separates it from everyone else? Like what is like? It's another generic live service
hero
game
shooter with characters that look abysmal. So it's like, why would you want to play as any of them?
Exactly. So that's my whole thing with it. It's like the game is destined to fail, man. And the thing people don't understand is DEI is only successful on the strength of brand recognition. For example, Spider-Man 2, I mean, when it is successful, like Spider-Man 2 was only successful because it was Spider-Man. And even then it wasn't really successful because they barely made money. Your game costed 350 mil. I think it only made 350 mil back, right? Or something like that. I don't remember. But the point is, it's like that's not even a success. That's like barely getting back what you.
No, I don't think it made that much back.
Yeah. So even then, it's like it's brand recognition. That's really what helps it. Whenever it works, or whenever it does, it isn't an abysmal failure. It's because of that.
Here's a good idea. Here's a good idea message.
And
Don't
Concord
preach.
doesn't have any of that. So
Yeah. It's nothing. It's just a bad game.
Like I said, it's a message for all these losers. Don't preach a message in the video games.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Don't preach messages in video games. Exactly.
People are tired of it. I think this is the result of that. People are tired of the obvious propaganda. They don't want these lazy, lame-ass looking games that are uninspired, that are just trying to be another cash grab. And then, the developers and publisher and the shows are going to try to make it seem like it's like this brand new innovative thing. It's like, no, we've seen this song and dance before. It's tired out. And on top of that, it's promoting a message to deny it, or just delusional at this point. It's like, they just want to shut it off and then point the finger at everyone else. Like, no, tell these developers to make better games and stop trying to preach a message that no one wants. We want escapism, and if we're not getting that, then we're going to call it out.
Melina, what are your thoughts on it?
On what?
On Concord, if you've heard of the game.
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh damn! All right, it's basically another like live service, like about like those hero shooter games, right?
Sure.
So it's basically like one of those, like, and it's just like more typical, like self inserts and stuff like that, like. So that's the gist of it, really.
Is it its own IP or something?
It's a new IP. It has no brand recognition or anything like that, as far as I know.
And is there? I'm sorry, I'm thinking you're talking about a company or something. Does it has its own like DEI? I can't say the abbreviation.
Investment, I believe so, right? Isn't it like? Wasn't that a Sweet Baby Inc. game?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
No,
I'm not
thinking
sure.
of Flintlock. Flintlock.
Okay,
is.
Flintlock. Well, I mean, I don't know if it has a DEI firm.
Concord,
but,
I don't know about that.
DEI firm or not,
sure.
it could have been of their own accord, but it is DEI 100%. Like it's pretty blatant what's going on there.
Like I said, we need to boycott these developers a lesson.
Yeah. Well, that's how you know when it's bad, when there's really not much you can say about it other than it's bad. Like,
I know.
And forgettable.
Yeah, look what the Suicide Squad DLC doing to Mr. Freeze. Now the female. Yeah, that's stupid.
They confirmed that she's lesbian allegedly too.
Oh my god. I'm not buying that heap of shit garbage. Get out of my face.
Who would have saw that coming? Who could have saw that one coming? You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, right.
Right? Yeah, it's awful. That game deserves to lose money.
It really does. But I mean, it has already. I think they're just going through the motions now.
Yeah. They're just finishing up their obligations for DLC.
Yeah. Yeah, and then once they pass whatever they're obligated to make, that game is dead. Their support is dead, rather. So I mean, if anyone else wants to talk about it, they can come on and tell us what they think.
Yeah, crazy.
If they played it, maybe I don't know. I doubt anyone here has played it, but if that's a possibility, someone did play the beta.
They should
or
call
at least
it
interested,
Discord.
or just have an opinion on it.
It should be called Discord.
That's called exactly.
Discord mods.
Discord.
You play as various Discord mods. But
my point.
So is anybody else going to come on and talk about it, or should we move on?
So who would you like the most to audience if you're us?
God. That was a TV. Never mind.
Reborn said he'll be here in a little bit. He said it's all right. He said in the chat somewhere. I doubt he played it, so or probably has much to say about it. I mean, yeah, I mean it's kind of like a dead game before it even like officially arrives. So, but it is funny to mock because it's like they keep trying to force this on everyone, like making it seem like this is what people want. It's like
Trump
They
is
don't.
they don't realize they're losing money. They're just, it's like they don't get it by now because apparently they were working on this game since 2020. So I'm like, this should have been canceled and just scrapped for something, at least something more serviceable.
Imagine the greatest comeback of all time. They just entirely rebrand the game, change models, just undo all that shit, and then re-release
do
it.
They pull a Sonic movie.
Yeah, they do like a Sonic, and then they just make the greatest comeback of all time. Like that'd be insane.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
but
obviously that's fantasy land. Nah, that's fantasy
Yeah.
land. But it would be
Yeah,
like
that is.
I would generally
That would be too perfect.
I would genuinely be amazed. That would be like shockingly like amazing if at least one game company did it, and then they make a shit ton of money, and then like they're like, all right, you know what?
Yup.
Yeah, at least.
Just like
That'd be
Stellar
awesome.
Break.
Yeah, but I mean that's a whole nother thing because as of right now, my mentality towards Shift Up is fuck them. That's a whole nother argument.
Yup.
They're hiring ESG experts now, so there you go. That tells you that they've been fully compromised, and it's a shame because I really did like the first Stellar Blade game, and I thought it was really good. And I liked the costumes, but I can't imagine the second game being like the first. Honestly, at least as of right now, who knows what happens, but.
Man, ESG is a problem. Should be illegal. I'm really enough of this ESG nonsense.
Yeah, I need more skin suit and less pronouns. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Video games back in the day had no freaking pronouns. I'm tired of pronoun this and pronoun that. Let's pronoun the whole world. Tired of shit, man.
All right, so I think we'll move on, and then if anybody else comes on later, then we can ask them what they think about it, because.
Right.
Yeah, like there's really not much else to say about it, and right now no one else is coming on. So, and I think Melina said that she really doesn't like. You don't really have much to say about it, right, Melina?
No,
I don't blame her.
Yeah, yeah, me neither. Rightfully so.
Yeah. Anyway, so now Flintlock, Siege of Dawn.
Wait. Actually, let me
I don't know
say
if you
this.
guys heard of that game.
I know she actually will know about this one. Melina, NetherRealm had a massive amount of layoffs. I don't know if you heard earlier in the podcast.
Oh yes, I heard, but I didn't know about it until you guys had said something.
Yeah, like that's kind of like rightfully so. They got what they deserved.
Huh.
Yes, honestly, they do.
Yeah.
It's called
They should have dropped so many because there's too many people on the team that too many conflicting ideas, don't know what they're talking about, don't know what they're doing, so it wasn't gonna work.
They can't even keep their lore straight, so.
Yup. This is what I said.
You know what they should have done? They should have hired you on the team, and I'm sure you would do Melina justice. I'm sure.
I would have did everybody justice.
Yup.
Even Kano, even my favorite Kano, you would have done him justice.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I would, because he's been done wrong too.
Would you make him less weak and less of a pushover? Because I feel like they made him too fucking weak in like every incarnation.
He could be a real serious threat. They just haven't explored that full potential. Like he's a leader of a cartel. There's a lot you can do with that.
That's what I'm saying. You know what? If you ever do get on the team, make some kind of like Kano Melina crossover or something.
Well, I can't now. It's my time has passed, because I probably would have been laid off if I was still on the team, or I probably would have quit already, because I'm glad I never did. That's why I had shared that story, because I did want it to be a part of the team, because it was like my dream, like to be a part of and work on my favorite video game. But I'm glad I had that hindsight that it never happened, because it would have turned into what it turned into today, and I would have been laid off if I stayed, or I would have quit a long time ago.
What you just said is basically me with Arkham. That would have been me. It would have been like they would have hired
same thing,
me,
yeah.
And then once I saw Suicide Squad, I would have been like, nah, fuck this shit, I'm out, literally.
Yeah.
Like, you know
'Cause I wanted
what?
to work for Rocksteady too. If I couldn't get there in NetherRealm, it was going to be either Naughty Dog, dear Lord, and or Rocksteady. But nope,
I'll tell you
hell
what.
no
If
to
What
Naughty
about,
Dog.
if I
what
ever
about
make a fighting,
Volition?
Volition been dead since like
No, I'm
Volition.
just telling her. Like,
Yeah.
if she would have worked at Volition, she would have saved this. She would have saved the Saints Row franchise right now. I'm not trying to be funny. Ah, it's my throat. Sorry.
You know what it
Damn it.
is? There ain't no saving Saints Row anymore. Sadly, I don't think they. I don't think even if they made the perfect Saints Row game, they ain't no bringing that back now. Sadly,
Yeah.
but I was gonna say like, look, if I ever make a fighting game and it's a ripoff of Mortal Kombat without the bullshit in it, I'm gonna have you design characters. You can have a stand-in for Melina. How about that?
Please do, because that's another thing. It's like, do y'all not know how to dress characters? It gets
Hey,
worse and
Devanchi,
worse as
I'm
the
gonna put
years
my
go
money on
by. I'm
you.
like, they make the most ugliest skins, and then I look at the special features or like the extra content, and I see all these other
YouTube.
great alternate skins that they
Yeah,
just passed up. But then you went with this. As an artist, that pisses me off. It strikes a nerve every single time I see all these good defaults, or I mean not defaults, but well, defaults or alternate skins just go to waste. I'm like,
Yeah. You mean you don't like the fake Marvel generic attire that they want to go with now?
it's that, yes, that, and they don't know their color schemes. Like it's just like dull drab colors, and then they want to give color, like characters that have their staple color, and they want to give them the opposite, and it's just, I don't like any of that. And I'm talking about a default, like Jade, for instance, for MK11, like they gave her more brown than green. That was
Yeah, yeah, and
Mm-mm.
it didn't blend well with her skin tone at all. Like I felt the same way. I was like, this shit is ugly. Like this
Yes,
attire is like not suiting her. And you know what's funny? You ever seen some of the weird like color swaps and they put like ugly ass colors together? Like they had like one Melina that was like bright ass green and bright ass red. It looked like Christmas colors. I'm like, why would you put Melina in these colors? They look awful on her. Like what the
I
hell?
they are awful as I'm I can't go into it because I'm an artist. It's just like that's another problem too. I'm like, y'all come up with the most ugliest, most thrown together colors and call it a skin, or I'm sorry, another color palette I have ever seen. They just don't complement each other. For every character, I can't.
I know.
Please don't make me talk about that.
I'm just riling you up.
Oh my god.
Let me stop riling you up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said,
I'm back. What happened?
like
Who's rolling? Who's rolling? Who up?
No, I was riling Melina
The
up because
Melina's coming out of me
yeah,
because
there
I
you
just,
go.
it's just the ugly skins, like just bland, boring, too detailed. They don't capture the character at all, and or characters, excuse me, plural, all of them. And the color palettes are just god awful. What they throw together, nothing complements each other at all. And it's not just because, oh, this character doesn't is not
No, it's
wearing
true.
their colors. Like if it was
Yeah.
mm,
Katana like wearing red, she's not wearing a nice shade. It's like the shades of these colors are just terrible and off, and they don't go together.
And muddy a lot of times. They be using the muddiest greens, muddiest purples, muddiest reds. Like
Man,
Yeah,
it's
trust
just
me,
that's
I know.
true. Yeah.
terrible.
I mean, I'm an artist too. It bothers me too. I look at it, I'm like, why would you do this? Like
my
who
god.
did this and why? Why
Yes,
would
you
you
deserve to be
Who's
fired. You
yeah,
deserve to be laid off.
who approved it? No one came in there and be like,
like nah, maybe you guys
yeah,
shouldn't
right,
do this shit.
Yup. Another lesson
right.
means go woke, go broke. Makes
so
sense.
Yep.
yeah, let's get to the next subject now. I was just kind of like, just bullshitting, but let's move
Mhm.
on to the next
It was
the
kind of
next topic.
relevant. It's something that like literally just happened, right?
Yeah, it
Them
did
laying
just
off
happen.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
It's that MCU
I'll
shit.
quickly say this: they did it to themselves. So
Yeah.
Anyway,
They surely did.
Yup.
yeah. But this also proves that me and you were kept calling us crazy and other shit.
Calling us conspiracy theorists.
Oh
Huh.
well, you mean I was looking at the comments. This guy, Agolf Twitler, yeah, he's a brainlet. He's a brainlet. He is. He is. He could have came on here and argued his points, but he would never do that because he's gonna scream from the void like all these people do.
Oh my god! You know what? We don't need YouTubers like that. They really piss me the hell off. They piss me the hell off. These people have no critical thinking, man.
Yeah,
Shit.
I don't know, man. A bot is gonna bot. Also, all those comments he wrote and none of it negated or gave any counterpoint to anything that we said either. So imagine 4 points saying, no,
Anyway,
because you're a butthole. That's why. You're a butthole. That might as well be what he's fucking doing.
Oh
But
yeah?
anyway.
I have a message for him. He's a fart hole. More like it. Fart hole, bitch.
Why don't you call him a fart box? Now, you know what? Let's not call it. Let's not go ad hominem.
Fart butt, bitch. That's a good one. Yeah, call him fart butt. Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling people fart boxes. That's a fucking great insult. What the hell, fart box ass. Anyway,
fart. Love it.
But let's move on to the next subject because we've been kind of going on and on about this.
Yeah, I know. Oh shit.
Flintlock Siege of Dawn just came out. I think it also came out Thursday, maybe Friday. I don't know. What kind of game? It's like an action game. I don't know if it's an RPG or not. I mean, it probably has RPG elements to it because you know what game doesn't have that these days. You play as a black character. I'm not sure the setting. It's like some fantasy setting. You have a cat follow you. I know she has an axe. I think she has 2 axes or something.
That was the one with the CGI. With the CGI trailer they showed, and it had like that weird art style, looked like a fairy tale book or something like that. Yeah.
Here we go again. Another character gender swap or skin swap, right?
Yeah, I remember that Hakami, the Nintendo thing. That's why back in the day, I always preferred playing Mortal Kombat 1 on Genesis when I was a kid. Like, we had both the Super Nintendo and the Genesis version, but we would
cutting
always,
out on my end, but I kind of get what you're saying.
we would always
effect or whatever.
Well,
you're thinking of South of Midnight.
I'm referring. I don't know if you're talking to me. I'm referring to Hakami because he said that remember Nintendo censorship with Mortal Kombat with the SNES because they took the blood out and they made it blue to look like sweat, and then they changed all the fatalities. But the Genesis version had all the blood and the regular fatalities. You just had to do a cheat code for it. So I was just saying that when I was a kid, we had both versions of the game, but we would always play the Genesis version because it was more brutal. And it had the music sounded better to me in the Genesis version. But yeah. But anyway, back to Flintlock. Flintlock.
Yeah. I had the Genesis version too.
The Flintlock. It just I don't know. I
is involved in the game.
Yeah.
Apparently, the main character was gonna be white, but then Sweet Baby Inc. I would assume Kim Belair suggested that the character be changed to black. I would assume they made other changes to the game based off of whatever Sweet Baby Inc. Suggested, and I don't know who the developers are, so I don't know if they, truly agreed with whatever Sweet Baby Inc. were telling them. More than likely, they were. So
I mean, they did it.
Way,
so they must have agreed with it because they did it.
Yeah, they did it. Yeah. So, and also this is a multi-platform game, but I think they had like a promotional deal with Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway,
so
the player count I think is at maybe 6,000 or 600 and something on Steam, and it's kind of the same thing with Concord. I don't think the numbers are that much different on consoles. So this game has not had a good launch week. I don't think it's going to get any better. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So look, here's my thing. Here's my thing about this. I want to be very clear. If a developer goes out of their way, right? All right, I'll put it this way. Let's say with this game, the intention was always for it to be a black female character in a fantasy setting. I probably wouldn't care that much, right?
obviously, given the current climate that we're in or whatever, obviously there's always going to be an asterisk next to whether it was a DEI move. But the fact that the character was allegedly supposed to be white first, and then they changed it to be a black protagonist or a black female character for the sake of DEI, that really speaks volumes of Sweet Baby Inc. and their bullshit. Because again, like having a black female protagonist is fine. I just think that like first off, the game has to be good and it has to be devoid of identity politics, at least for me to take it seriously. And will this game have that? Probably not. But also, the game itself looks kind of generic anyway, from what I've seen and from what I remember seeing. So, I guess that's my take on it.
Yeah, with all due respect, the Flintlock game, not buying it. It's garbage, and I'm not playing. If it has Sweet Baby Inc. or EI detected on it, hell no.
Like, all right, let me put it this way. Let me just state this. Why
Hmm.
couldn't why can't a developer not make like a Blood Rain kind of game where you play as a black female protagonist that's beautiful and badass and all that shit? Why can't a Tomb Raider exist with like
That would actually be good.
or a black
That actually
female
sounds
character?
good.
I just don't understand why when they implement this stuff, it has to be like flat chested, no hips, manly looking
That's
females,
what that's what she
born
looks like too.
boring looking design, whatever. Like, I don't understand why you can't just have black protagonists be badass, cool, look good, and all of that shit. I don't like that's what boggles my mind about it. It's like people don't have a
It
problem.
shouldn't be this difficult, right?
People don't have a problem with like black female protagonists or even like black characters. I just think that they refuse to make them good. They just make them fucking social justice talking pieces. Like, it reminds me of like
That or they're like a walking stereotype, or they're
yeah,
just
like
bland and forgettable.
I was
Well,
thinking about the 70s, right? Like the 70s had all the black exploitation stuff, and it kind of reminds me of that. It's like the entire identity of the character in a lot of those old movies is that is their race. Granted, some of those movies are entertaining and they're good, but they're so racially focused that they alienate people, and then
God damn.
then you can't be mad when people don't buy the game or watch the movie because they're alienated. Like, why can't it just I really genuinely don't understand. Like, if you go online and you look at some artists, the portrayal of black women, they draw them so beautifully. They look, they're so like, and when I say beautiful, I don't even mean European. I mean like just the art, like the art is beautiful, like just beautiful black female characters. And then when you look at games, it's like that shit never is
Yeah, they can
reflective
have
of
African American features and the afro, or even the short hair, and they can still look pretty. It's
yeah,
not
it's like
Yup.
impossible.
why do they
It's
have
just
to
it's
be
just they
like
go out of the way to make them look that way.
why do they have to be ugly, stumpy, and a vapid feminist? Why can't they just
well,
why, like, for example, a Bayonetta? Any company right now can make a Bayonetta like game without any politics in it, where you play as a black female character, but they won't do it. It's like as soon as they implement
Mhm.
a black female character or a black character, they always want to talk about patriarchy, racial injustice, and shit like that. And I'm like, do you
oh
forget?
my God.
And my point is like, do people forget that we live in 2024? That LeBron James is celebrated by like both white and black athletes. I mean, his political views are fucking stupid, but I mean, as an athlete, he's like well
Awful,
celebrated
god
as an
awful, yeah.
athlete. He's a fucking
Yeah.
millionaire. Will Smith is a millionaire. His kids are millionaires, and that's fucking nepotism. You
Yep.
live in a country. You live in a country where black nepotism exists, and then you can't argue within that same sentence. Say that oh yeah, we're victims, racial divide, all this shit. It's like at a certain point,
Man.
people have to take accountability for their own lives and their own actions, right? If LeBron James could do it, Will Smith could do it. If Neil deGrasse Tyson could be a fucking millionaire,
Oprah,
Yeah.
Oprah, Montel Williams, all these things. It's like at a certain
Akon.
point, Akon, we
Doc
have to,
Rivers.
yeah, whatever. The point is that we have to grow up and say, all right, maybe you just have to work harder. Maybe you just didn't seize an opportunity. Maybe because success is when opportunity meets preparation. Like, people
Yeah.
fail to think about this stuff. So for me, it's like
Mhm.
I'm tired of watching a movie or playing a game
and then and then the game characters or the movie characters are complaining about, like, for example, with the Batman, where you have Catwoman complaining about white privilege. It's like, why can't the movie just be a fucking Batman movie without that stuff shoved in there? Why can't Catwoman just be a hot black Catwoman who's badass? Why does she have to talk about modern social justice?
You know what? This is
Identity politics and all that.
identity politics, the radical left, mind control, brainwashing, fake news, propaganda in their fucking heads. These people need to grow up and open their eyes and see what's really going on. You're right. Yeah, and they get offended about girls' ass, boobs, titties, and what the fuck for what? Just because the female character is beautiful doesn't mean you have to get misogyny about it.
What's
the hell's
up,
wrong
everybody?
with them?
So give me a second. Hold on. Rose, I agree with you. Can you try to move into a room where there's no background noise, because it's bleeding heavily into the podcast. It's like pretty loud. You're good.
Sorry, let me move somewhere. Somewhere.
What's up?
Like, I don't know who that is in the background, but I can hear them. Like, I can hear them going full.
Hold on.
Mom on the phone convo over there.
No. Ignore my mom. Fuck that. Come on, man. Like I said, I'm just tired of what you said, Jabanchi. You have a point, but I'm just tired of these fucking people being real misogynists about, cleavage is a crime. Showing ass and boob is a crime. I'm like, what the fuck? Just because a girl's good looking and hot doesn't mean you have to get misogyny about it. Give me a break, man.
Well, like, and ultimately, like, it's really just about creating entertainment, man. Like, I don't know. I guess I never felt like it was an important enough thing where it had to be shoved into everything. Like,
entertainment full of quarters.
Because when I remember being young, and I can imagine, like, with Blade, right? Like, just seeing, I could just imagine as a kid when I would watch Blade, I'm like, this is a cool character, and he's badass, and those things aren't really necessarily about like anything like particularly racial or social. It's just a badass character that kills vampires, and everyone liked them. And then to that same token, I can imagine a black little kid looking up to that character and saying, hey, Blade is badass. I look like him. I can relate to him. But at the same time, everyone can enjoy it because it's not divisive. He's just a badass character. Black people can be like, yeah, he's a cool character. I can relate because of whatever reasons, or like I can see like that he looks like me. But then for white people, Spanish people, they're not being preached to about how they're fucking evil just because they were born with like white skin. So I think that's like the difference between a character like Blade and Spawn and what we're getting now. And I just don't get that, like, how you have all this money and you can't just give people like this stuff, you know? I just don't get it.
Can I say something too?
Exactly, Jabanchi. I agree with you. It's just that it's kind of crazy because look at Michael Jordan, look at Snoop Dogg, look at all these black famous people like Denzel Washington, etc., etc. They don't preach about victimhood and all this bullshit.
Yeah. So
because Michael Jordan
you got some celebrity do it though.
So Reborn, what were you gonna say? I know Rolls interrupted you there.
I know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to say this to guys. By the way, for this week, my post and also my YouTube channel got suspended.
What the hell?
What?
Yeah, they suspended me.
Why? What happened?
For this week, I can't upload nothing, or I can't go on my community post.
That's so
stupid. Did he say anything? Did he say why?
No, it's basically what is it? I sent Chico, but I didn't even send it to you yet. It's just basically I was trying to tag you on my community post. And what is it? I will show you the screenshot, then you might understand the shit. Cause it's basically about how this type of stuff with the Destiny situation and all that, and then YouTube finally clock me in about 3 minutes. Then they calling it like suspending me. So it's about 1 week. So I got like a yellow card. So I can't upload anything or post.
Yeah. Well, that's YouTube for you.
That's messed up.
But no, it's just that like.
Yup.
I don't know, man. I guess I just, for me, with all this stuff that happens with like these games and stuff, it just, there's no way to look at it and not assume that an agenda like that's why when people say like when they try to like gaslight you, it's really just because they're okay with it, which reflects on their like values more than it really talks about the person they're trying to say who is a conspiracy toward. It's like saying, it's like the idea these people propagate is that I know it's unfair, I know it's propaganda, I know that it's not merit based, but you deserve this because of things that happened 200 years ago that has nothing to do with either one of us. If you like boil it down to that, it makes no sense. It's asinine, and it
Yeah,
kind of makes me
it
feel
is,
like why do
brother.
so many people play ball off that? Because it's like, when you look at DEI, if you're saying, all right, I'll put it this way: if you're let's say you have two kids with similar grades, they're both trying to go to the same college, and one of them has slightly lower grades. I'm going to say in this case it's the minority person, but obviously there are obviously a lot of intelligent minorities that are like way smarter than some white people and vice versa. It's like anybody can be a genius or intelligent. I'm just using it for this example.
You remember
And
that?
and yeah, just for this example particularly. But like, if one person, so let's say the minority has, his grades are 90, he gets the nine, he's all in the 90s range, and the white kid is in or the Asian kid's in the 95 range. It's very close, but then you say, well, you know what, we're gonna pass out on this Asian or white kid, we're gonna bring in this person because of DEI. To me, that's objectively wrong,
It
because
is.
yeah, it's giving an
It is.
opportunity, but it's also unfair. It's also not fair to the person who worked harder to have higher grades. And again, it's like he earned his opportunity to be in there.
That
So I
person,
feel like that's my problem with DEI. It's like,
exactly, homie.
I think that DEI should be like, I think if you're gonna hire, all right, so here's how I put it. It should be anti-discriminatory in that you shouldn't hire somebody. I mean, you should be able to hire, like, you shouldn't not hire somebody because of their race or gender or whatever. But
Yeah.
Exactly.
but they should also meet the requirements to fit in that job. So if
Thank
somebody's
you.
like, so if somebody is a doctor, it should be because they have the merit to be a doctor, or like that
Thank you.
they're a good doctor. It shouldn't be because this doctor might not have been as good as this other doctor, but we hired him because of the color of his skin, because we wanna play ball with DEI. DEI is not hiring people. It should not be hiring people because of the color of the skin. It should be not excluding people because the color of the skin. I think everyone like understands what I mean by that. There's a distinct
Yeah,
difference
that,
there.
that's what it should be. That's how it should be. But it's
Yeah,
not.
it's up.
But then
Yeah.
people try to create that it's like this like virtuous, genuine thing that is for everyone. It doesn't exclude people when it actually does. It's the complete opposite. It's just people feed into the lie, and then when you call it out and even explain it to these people, it's like they
You got
still
science
don't get it,
hard.
and then they want to
Yeah.
throw buzzwords like, "Well, you're just racist, you're a homophobe, you're this, you just don't want to
Well, it's because
see
they agree with it.
people." Yeah,
It's because
They
they
get
agree with it. It's like the Trump thing. Back to the Trump thing in a way. It's like
Yeah.
people saying, it's like, if like, here's a difference. It with the Trump thing and an example. It's like with Biden. It's like, if Biden got assassinated, I wouldn't be happy, because it would be wrong to assassinate somebody just because you disagree with them politically. Especially like when
yeah.
when it's non-violent. It's not like a violent dictator trying to uprise the country. It's just like a guy you disagree with politically.
Mhm.
Obviously, if Biden was killed, I wouldn't be celebrating his death. That'd be horrible.
I wouldn't
But
be
Yeah.
but
celebrating that.
but
No.
in the other end of things, it's like with Trump, where people are like calling out for his death and shit, and like saying that they wish the bullet hit him. It's kind of like a thing where, just because you don't, it's like, I agree that I also, like, let's say this person says, I agree I don't like Trump, so that means he, therefore it's okay if he gets killed. It's like the same argument of, I know DEI is bullshit, but I'm okay with it because it benefits me. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
let's say in this scenario I'm black, or I'm
Mhm.
a woman or whatever. It's like, you should be going out for what's objectively good. Objective good is not conditional. It's not a conditional thing. If you're biased and judging and excluding people based on any reason, it's wrong. Unless the reason is that they don't have, unless the reason is merit.
which merit is the reason why you should exclude somebody in a way, because like, you know, if you have a doctor operating on you, you want the best doctor. So there should be a high level of merit that goes into selecting doctors, right? Or surgeons. So I think that what we have in this country is equal opportunity, but not equal outcome. Equal opportunity doesn't mean equal outcome. Equal outcome, that basically means everybody has a chance to win, but it doesn't guarantee that you will win. And I think that's really like what I think that's what we really need more of, like meritocracy. If the best surgeon in the world was black, then so be it. He's a black person's the best surgeon. If it's a Filipino, it's the best person, and so be it. That's meritocracy. That's what it should be, or whatever
like
the case is.
Or
Yeah,
like this.
right. Like,
how about
if someone's
how about like an Iranian dentist or Iranian zit doctor that can taking care of your zits?
Yeah. Well, somebody look. There are people that go to other countries. They go to other countries to have surgery, or like they go to Germany because of their medical industry. I think it's actually better than ours as far as like innovations. I don't know. I heard that somewhere. I don't know if that's true. But if somebody goes to Germany to get better healthcare, you know, you can't say, "Oh, but you're an American. You're supposed to have everything done here because it's anti-American." It's you're going toward where the merit is, where the best person for that job that you need done is. That's capitalism. That's meritocracy. That's how it should be, and it pushes people to be better and be the best versions of themselves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Well,
my take on it.
if you're having
I would
surgery
say,
somewhere, it's like it doesn't like it shouldn't matter like the color of their skin or if it's male or female. It's like, all right, you know, if you're the best person to do it, then go ahead. You know, I want if you want something done, you want it done by the best person, especially
yeah.
if you can afford it.
Let me. Can I say something? Because I would say this. Because like Jim Pot say about these people who willing to like see was it the president been gone. I'm saying
Yeah,
these
go ahead,
people
Reborn.
have so much identity crisis, so much identity crisis. It's like in the public too, like these people are generally like having identity crisis, but they rather consume what the mainstream media say.
Melina, what are your thoughts on it?
I'm sorry, on what specifically?
On Flintlock, and the fact that they changed the character from a white female to a black female under the behest of Sweet Baby Inc. allegedly, and like basically like that subject in general that we were talking about.
Um, I do not know of this game, but why, why bother changing it? I know for their reasons to fit the agenda, but if that's originally what they were going with, then just stick to it. I don't know, give her a black companion, like friend. You didn't have to. I don't know what the game is like. I mean, I don't have much input besides Concord, but just the whole race swapping thing, I'm sick of it.
Yeah, you ain't missing much with that game. Don't worry.
Honestly, it's just I don't care for any new game that comes out.
I agree. You know what I was thinking of that would have been a cool idea, by the way? You guys, I know Melina loves Resident Evil. She's actually, it's funny, we were playing 5 and she was like, it was shocking me how good she is at that game. No, I don't mean it in an offensive way. It's like, I'm like her memory is like insane. She I couldn't believe, like, we're gonna stream the game eventually, but like I couldn't believe she remembered everything. But anyway, I know you're familiar with that one.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah, I was blown away. She's like, oh, let's
somebody that disagree on your chat. But
she's like, oh, aim here because there's a jewel here. Like we have to get, or there's an emblem here. I'm like, damn, like you remember all that? Like you're built, you're based. But anyway, but we were talking about Resident Evil 1. I remember we were talking about it before. I would love for them to make a side, instead of making a side game about Rebecca and Billy, they could have made a game of what Kenneth was doing up until he got killed. It would have been really cool. They could have made a full game about Kenneth leading up to when the game ends with the zombie getting him. They could have made him a much more They could have gave him like some fleshed out backstory. They could have made like, I think that would have been cool actually. Maybe make him a little more heroic like they did with Richard.
Honestly, instead of Resident Evil Zero like being a whole entire game, it would have been nice to have just DLC of a Bravo team's experience before they had got killed, like Forrest and we know Enrico, but it's just that would have been better because of course like Zero not making any sense being tied to one, because I still don't believe, and I hope they don't do it, the Zero remake, because it doesn't need one at all when it already has remake one's engine in place. But that would be better to have the experience of what it was like before their final moments.
Yeah, and wouldn't
Richard
that be
too.
And wouldn't that have been iconic? Well, Richard, we saw his final moments because it kind of changed it a bit. But yeah, like with Kenneth, wouldn't it have been like really sick though if the game ends, he does all of that, and then at the very end, the zombie from the first game gets him the first zombie. Like it would wrap things up. Like that should be how the game ends, maybe. Like
Honestly, that'd be very terrifying.
Because imagine that we get to play as all the Bravo team members, and then at the very end, Enrico, he tells Kenneth that he has to get the information to the other stars, and on the way to do that, he gets taken out by the first zombie or something.
Yep.
Something like that. I don't know. It could have been cool. Because I agree. Because we talked about it before in depth, and I just hate how Zero in its entirety feels like an assful, convenient plot contrivances. So I'm like, come on. Rebecca never mentioned any of this. Like, come on.
It takes away from what kickstarts Resident Evil 1, honestly, because you feel the need to give context on what happened to the first team that was sent to the Spencer Mansion. I just find that Zero just takes away from the Bravo team's experience, because it does give it mystique of like, oh my god, what happened, especially if you run into them before they die, and it's like it just takes away from them and their last moments. They should have just left it alone and not made it like remake it. I understand, and that's the tendency that I see with Capcom. It's like once they reach a certain high, I guess I'll use that term, then they get too caught up in the moment, and then they'll try to push something out, because honestly, RE0, I look at it as the remake, because it was so successful off of the RE1 remake, and it's like, okay, let's give context, even though it doesn't make any sense. And I'm pretty sure they knew this when they released it, and it was no point in doing so. Mm-hmm. It gives me a lot of similarities to the remake because of how, but instead there's still a difference, because at least they try to do something with Zero and give it a story, which is kind of goofy.
Come on.
But the remake, it was a lot of cut content.
A parallel mansion.
Oh.
A parallel mansion that's just so similar to the first one. Then you have the fucking train. Then Rebecca never mentions any of this. She conveniently fights a prototype tyrant. There's a whole anime villain in there that is like inconsistent with the first game's tone. Like it's like I like Zero. It's hard for me to like. It's hard for me to really like that game because for like the story reasons. It's just like you said, it cheapens the game, and it just everything feels so convenient. And like, you're gonna tell me Rebecca didn't fight a tyrant, and then just doesn't mention, hey Chris, at the end of Resident Evil 1 remake, hey, I fought something like this before. Like, like I don't know. Like,
and the fact that she cowers to a hunter, but she faced the whole tyrant by herself. It's just.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because we talked about it before earlier too. I like that. That actually is a good point. She's cowering from a tyrant, needs Chris to save her. I mean, not a tyrant. I'm sorry, a hunter needs Chris to save her.
I have one question.
Yeah.
For me, Chan. So, do you play the Dead Rising, or have you heard about the remaster version of it, Melina Chan?
Have I heard of it? The remastered Dead Rising?
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, also how they trying to like maybe race up the Asian dude and all that. I say,
they did, yeah.
Nothing wrong with Asian people, bro. Come on, what's with the?
Because they said it's a stereotype, even though that's bullshit. When they say stuff like that, it just shows me that the people that are in charge of the games themselves are fucking racist.
Thank you.
That's
You
like
have
saying that's
severely
like
Yeah.
like it'll be like, oh, we have a scene of a black character that he's eating food, and it just happens to be a chicken breast on a plate, and they're like, oh, we got to change him because it's a
Yeah,
stereotype that black people eat
Revenant. Let
chicken,
me say this,
eat
Revenant.
whatever. I'm like,
Let me
what?
say, Revenant, Patrick, let me say this. And the funny thing, when I find out how this shit goes about maybe around your state and us here,
Yeah.
all the thing they want to do, they just want to ban the conservatives that they now have no type of opinions and all that type of shit. And not only have these type of liberals, but these type of liberals don't even know what the fuck they do or they talk about. They struggle to death. But when it comes to the
exactly,
yeah, when it comes to
exactly,
conservatives,
born.
I just don't get
Well,
it.
hold
It's
on,
just
hold on.
like,
They're just trying to control the speech. They're trying to control the
Yeah,
narrative.
yeah,
yeah.
and what is it? It's throughout the years. When I say, come on, bro, like you want to absolutely want to shut them down through the entire years, and the fact, like, what is it? They're trying to give some good advice.
Octo
It's
Commander, Octo Commander. What are your thoughts on the game?
just damn stupid.
Reporting,
On a
reporting. Okay,
Flintlock.
you can hear me?
yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I don't
All
blame
right,
you,
all right.
Solo. I
Solid
don't blame
copy.
you.
Yeah, you good.
Okay, so the thing is about Flintlock. I didn't do too much research. I saw it here and there. But the thing is with the switching to female characters, they race last minute, of course. I can only imagine Sweet Baby Inc. Scared them and they gone and changed it, and it's just part of the course. And the thing is, how I look at it is I'm saving money. That's one. Number two, I can look at other things. Number three, I may not have the budget, but at least I can make my own stuff. And that's from my personal perspective, not the totality of how everybody's seeing it. Now the thing is that um they're going to keep doing this. This is an example of how monopolies have created a hive mind in the whole marketplace where everybody is just saying, okay, let's just do what this other guy is doing because this makes money. That's how it is before. But now it's we have to do what the other guy is doing. And unfortunately, this is not going to stop too much. But the thing is, Microsoft may have said, well, we're going to ditch the DEI thing, which is a good sign. But at the same time, it's kind of like one of those things where you're so traumatized by the idea that these people had
Thank you.
audacity to change this material that you hear somebody say, okay, I don't want any more of this DEI thing. You got Flink, the guy with BlackRock. He's saying that, of course, he's like, I don't want to be associated with this thing. But like I said, you're so
But yeah, they
traumatized by it,
still
you
they
can't
they they,
trust
they
these
still it.
people.
They still
And
are.
they lost the trust of a lot of people, and this modern society is a credit-based system, and it's not just the credit card companies or whatever institutions are
It's
trying to
reputation.
establish credit. It's also the people, us,
Yeah,
everybody in this chat right now have low credit scores for these people. We
Thank
have,
you.
yeah, we
yeah.
have been
So it's
so,
called social credit.
yeah,
Social
yeah.
credit.
We are the
Thank you,
social
Jim
credit
Patch. At
dic.
least
Yeah,
me
we're the dictators.
know
We're the
more
ones
than
deciding
than
Yep.
me
this
about this type of
this
thing.
is too
Social
much.
credit. Now I need to
So,
look into that shit.
um, sorry, I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. I was
Oh,
agreeing with Chimpachi. Carry
oh,
on.
okay. Right. Yeah, yeah. Social credit score. That's a very good point. And like when it comes to this, like DEI stuff and all this kind of stuff, um, there was this movie. It just reminds me of this movie called X versus Sever. I think I talked about it the last time. It was a flop. A lot of people didn't like it. Some people liked it. I thought it was okay, even though my brain was turned off. But the thing was, they the company um franchise group, they made a bunch of these very high budget movies. But the thing was, they had a connection with a bank over in Germany where they found a way how to launder the money. So this whole DEI stuff, these people, they're gonna keep doing it because they have something to gain, and it's
It's
just it's
power.
just it's it's just not just power. For some people it's power, for some people it's money, for some people it's both. It's a
It's
very
narcissism.
they're cutthroats. That's the other
I
thing
was
about
I
these.
was saying narcissism. That's the thing
Not
they
Yeah,
need.
there's some people that have narcissism. So
Hubris.
it's like a pit of vipers. You have the person that wants this, the person that wants that. They have their self-serving interests, even though they said, okay, we decided that anybody that doesn't agree with us is the enemy. Doesn't matter if they're left, doesn't matter if they're right. As soon as they say something that deviates from the script, they're gonna say, wait, we gotta take you to the other room. We're gonna have to talk to you. Like that black guy that said, why
Why do female characters have to be
no,
ugly when he's a
yes,
designer? Why they can't be beautiful? Basically, what I was saying earlier too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
They
exactly.
got to him. They
That's
got to him.
it's
exactly.
like an cult in this say. Like,
Yes, and that's the thing though. They took him to the back. They cracked the whip, and they told that boy, "Listen here, you don't come around here start speaking
Yeah.
your man. You understand? Now get your butt back there and start atoning for your sins."
Well, I want to make a point too, where
They
DEI
backpedaled real quick.
by any other name is still DEI. So they might say on the surface like they're abandoning they're like leaning away from DEI, but that doesn't mean that they won't do it just in a more obscured or covert way. Like for example, with
Yeah,
like Bridge, where
it'll just be
Bridge is
under a
essentially
different name.
just Sweet Baby Inc., ESG, DEI. It's under that same umbrella of thought process. So I think that I agree with you. I think that it's not just so much that we can't like that, we're all like you said traumatized, which is true, like where we don't want to like we won't trust them. We like they have like just like we have a bad social score with them, they have a bad social score with us with their reputation. But I think that like deep down it's unlikely that they won't try to have their cake and eat it too. And I can imagine them saying that for public favor, but then also still taking money in the back from but just being more covert with it, more obscure with it,
Larry Fink.
like like
Right.
hey like hey, we're still gonna do DEI, but we're gonna change the name and we're not gonna announce it. But when you play the game, you're gonna see that it's there. So I'll give you an example. Indiana Jones game hasn't come out yet, and we all know the writings on the wall because allegedly Sweet Baby Inc. is involved. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but allegedly they're involved with it. And on
they're,
top
they're
of
they're
that,
involved.
you had that guy come out where he looked like he came out of a pride festival talking about how they're
For
gonna
real.
they're gonna make it into for a
It's
modern
made for the modern
audience.
day audience.
Yeah, so people are saying, well, in the trailers, we didn't see any of that. Yeah, that's the trailers. Sometimes your enemy wisens up. Sometimes they learn, hey, maybe we shouldn't show them this in the trailers. Let's let the game come out, rely on Indiana Jones brand recognition, then they'll get into the third act of the game and realize the writing's on the wall. You know what's a great example of this? Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 hid all the DEI shit and you would not have known it was there until you played the game.
Yep. And it's
So
also
Yep.
all warfare is based
Even
on deception.
Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, you wouldn't have expected to be how it was.
you know what? I'm
Um,
gonna say it again. Wolfenstein New Colossus is and I'm gonna piss people off with this one because people are tired of the word woke, but I don't give a shit because unless they stop doing woke shit, I'm not gonna stop calling it what it is. But anyway, Wolfenstein New Colossus is the most woke game of all time. I stand by that. I think that really might be the owner of the number one spot, the gold medal, if you will, of like the special DEI Olympics.
Complete ass game.
Yeah, that game
Yeah.
is as woke as it gets. I can't even. I don't think anything even comes
mhm.
close. I don't think anything even comes close. It's like I was mind blown. I remember I was playing that game because obviously I like Wolfenstein, and the first game was fine. And then when I bought New Colossus, I'm playing through it, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the fuck? And then like as you progress in the game, it gets more aggressive and worse. And I'm thinking like. I just couldn't believe it. I remember like playing that game and like I wasn't even telling Revan I was having trouble finishing it. I couldn't even like stomach it at a certain point. I'm like I'm like,
Yeah,
what the
it's
fuck?
those I was looking up the new Colossus thing. I didn't play it, but I was just looking at it, and it was ironically borderline parody how woke it was.
Yeah, it was like
And
borderline parody. Yeah.
yeah, right, right. And the other thing is about the DEI thing. Like I said, all warfare is based on deception. They always have to find a way how to change their look because they're looking at the data, they're looking at the statistics and all these different points of interest, and they're saying, "Wait a minute, let me get this straight. I'm seeing all this stuff happening. We got to change our image. People are onto us. We can't prance around and act like this is part of the course." There's those set of people, and of course there's the other set of people that just said, you know what, we need to keep this thing afloat. We need to make sure that this is going to work. And but yeah, that's the thing about that game that I pretty much have to say, because I had no interest in playing the game. And yeah, so let you
That's
guys.
true. Hakami, what Hakami said about Final Fantasy 16. Yeah, no one expected a gay scene in that game. You know. So again, like these companies, they want that
Whoa,
investment.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa! Wait,
yeah,
what?
yeah. That's
What?
the thing. Yep. And
What?
again,
Wait,
The
wait,
gay
wait,
scene in
wait,
there.
wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait, wait.
Yeah.
So this is Final Fantasy. Don't they understand what that
Mhm.
means? When you have a name of something, you're gonna have the audience follow it. Doesn't matter what age. If it's Pokemon, whatever. If you have something like Pokemon and they do something that goes beyond the age range that that the creators intended, right? The targeted audience. And if they start doing something that goes beyond that age range, don't they think that the people are still going to follow it because of a name? People trust a name. Like I said, we have a credit based system. We believe in trust has the best form of currency. And if you're going to have people buying Final Fantasy 16 with any kind of interaction with people, I don't care if it's this or that, who and whatever, you're going to bring in those people, and it's almost deliberate. These people are the kind of people that walk around with a trench coat and whip it out
Yeah.
to unexpected people, and now they're
the
doing it at a
flashers
higher level. Yeah.
flashing at a corporate level. But
Yes.
listen, I want to add
Yeah,
Yes.
to your
yeah.
point here that like, but
Billionaire flashers.
here's the thing though with
Mhm.
Final Fantasy 16. From the inception of the game, they were announcing early on that it was going to be a mature, fake ass Game of Thrones, fake ass Attack on Titan kind of thing going on. So
Yeah.
the
Like
person who
Berserk or whatever. Yeah.
no, that shit copies Attack on Titan a lot. A lot of it is fake Attack on Titan. But anyway,
Yeah. No, I
and
know.
also
I know it does.
and Game of
Yeah.
Thrones, and those, and again, what are both those things are
Game of
extremely,
Thrones, especially. Yeah.
and those things are very popular, and
Game of Thrones
it has like
died. I would say that.
it has sex and violence in it, and a lot of sex and violence. Final Fantasy is not necessarily known for blatant sex and violence, at least not like fantasy violence or like anything beyond the point of like two
Yeah.
characters just being in love with each other or whatever. So
Hmm.
so basically, that game from the jump was gonna have some weirdo shit in it because, you know, Game of
They
Thrones,
really try to
eh,
westernize it.
yeah,
That's the
Oh
thing.
my god.
Game of Thrones has this thing about it where there's a lot of like sexuality in it, a lot of like grit to it, and it kind of makes it clear that they didn't want to make a Final Fantasy game. They wanted to make a rip off of Game of Thrones with some Attack on Titan in there because both those things were popular.
But
So
slap on the name Final Fantasy in
yeah,
Even
order,
the
because of
majority
brand
like
recognition,
the
because,
Attack on
more than
Titan,
likely
but
no one was gonna buy it if it was like that.
yeah,
exactly. If it was a new IP. So hold on, I want to finish what I'm saying here. So with that game, it's like the writing was always on the wall. So when they said that, I knew the game was gonna be like racy like that. I knew it was. I like when they announced that they were going in that direction. I saw the trailers. I'm not saying I expected a gay sex scene, but I did expect like sex scenes or shocking deaths or shockingly brutal violence and stuff like that. Only because that's what that implies for me. Now that didn't fit Final Fantasy. I didn't expect a gay sex scene in there, but again, that's like, it's like you said, they see the name Final Fantasy and they expect Final Fantasy. They don't expect Game of Thrones or that, or like, Attack on Titan. They want what makes Final Fantasy special. And I think Square Enix doesn't really want to make
Mhm.
those games anymore. I think they want to do something else, but for lack of a better word, because I'm from New York, I'm gonna say they're too pussy to make a new IP and risk on it, so they tie the word Final Fantasy on there. And a lot of
There,
game developers
Mhm.
do this.
preach, preach. Go on, keep
So,
going, keep going. I'm just a person in the background. You're the preacher.
well, listen, I'm just saying that's what it is, man. Like they're too fucking pussy to do it, and I feel like
But
that
you're right. I
they
mean that's why it didn't do too well in sales. People will blame, oh, it's a PS5 exclusive. Like, no, I think the tone of the game, the direction they went in, is what really did them over.
tell that to the PS1. Final Fantasy VII was exclusive in the
Mhm.
original one, and that shit sold like
Yeah,
hot.
but
People bought PlayStation ones just to play Final Fantasy VII when it came out.
yeah, but I would say Square Enix just
Yeah,
messed up with the
same with
rebirth.
Rebirth. Like people
They
didn't go and buy a
they
PS5 for that.
they fucked up hard with the rebirth. I'll tell you that. It
I don't want.
really
You know what's
For
fucked
funny?
real.
I don't even want to talk about that game anymore because I'm so annoyed by it.
Yeah,
I
I don't
feel like
blame you.
I've ranted on that
Too
game to
many dick
death. Like how
suckers for that game. Like it's like every
Yeah,
corner. Like you say
yeah,
anything
I don't blame you, Revenant, because I'm just timed by these dick
remotely
suckers.
negative, like yeah, they are.
Hey,
Yep.
But then it's such a masterpiece that a lot of people didn't buy.
yeah.
hey, Revenant, can I tell you this,
Look,
bro?
if your first game
Well,
says five, if your first game sells 500,000
Hold on,
copies,
Rebo, what were you saying?
Um, I'm gonna say this though. It's nice to like, be on your chat for maybe about a while or something, or just like a minute. Right now, I'm just like gonna get ready, go to my bed, because I'm tired as fuck.
all right, man.
But
Thanks for coming
Oh
on.
yeah, because it's
but the
late
thing
where you're
about
at.
I didn't
Yeah,
even for y'all's even was about Donald Trump about the thing he didn't even ask for a question. I want to say this though.
right.
Even though for these sick individual, and also I've seen on the mainstream media go, like it's just like how these people are lunatics, bro, lunatics. And also, what is it? They just
It's
hate
true. They
like
are.
where where people can have like the true definition of freedom of speech. They rather science freedom of speech because they say freedom of speech violence. But I would say this. No, vi- violence is violence is like, where you currently like destroying up society, and now we need to fight back. And even though I I do take a look at the history from these leftists, they say like they anti-war. But funny thing is, they ain't anti-war. No, no, no. They are war people.
these people are mentally ill and sick.
Exactly.
Well, look, here's my whole thing on it. It's just mass delusion, mass hysteria. I think
Time.
mass Trump derangement syndrome. When people say TDS, what I really categorize it as is mass hysteria. And
Yep.
some people are more susceptible to like propaganda than others. And when it comes to like the violence and stuff, I think that people always try to. I think people are very tribal, and I think that they'll justify anything if it suits their tribe. Their tribe. I think very few people in the world can actually be objective and take their personal emotions out of it. And anytime you see a group, whether it be like Republicans, Democrats, or whatever, it's been said thousands of times, but anytime you offer any nuance to that, people are going to they're going to try to oust you because of the tribalism. So for example, I'll use an example. You might be against for example, the gender shit being taught to kids, right, in schools. But
Mm,
at the same token, you might not also want religion taught at schools. So
mhm.
to some parts, some conservatives or Christians or conservative Republicans, they're gonna try to oust you or dismiss you because you're gonna say, well, this person is anti-God, anti-Bible. This person is promoting evil, whatever. But it's really from the objective fact that schools really shouldn't be teaching you any of that. That's up to the parents. But that
Thank you.
requires that requires nuanced thinking that unfortunately tribalists don't really do. So
True.
again, it's not like again, like generally, I don't like a lot of the leftist shit, and I don't agree with any of it. But at the same time, it's also good to keep in mind that like it is very tribal in nature, and Republicans are quick to do the same thing too. If you don't believe in everything that they
Yeah,
vouch
that's
say.
true. That's true. That's true.
So, not saying that not obviously not every conservative is Christian. I'm just saying there are groups of conservatives that will dismiss you or
This
not
is it. This
or
man.
not like or not like you because you're saying, well, yeah, we shouldn't teach this, but we should also not teach that as well. And I think that's really what I think that's really the thing. It's just tribal. People just want their team to win. It's like, are you is it like, and people will do that with anything. That's the source of all this stuff. He's white, he's black, he's from the East Coast, he's from the West Coast, he's Republican, he's leftist, he's American, he's Russian. And then if you go into a bigger scope, he's an alien, he's a human, he's a these are biological beings. These are higher dimensional static entities. They are enemy. Like it's gonna always trickle to a higher level. So I think that really what it comes down to is that the only time real change will happen is when people start looking at things with nuance rather than trying to look at it through the scope of whatever tribe they're in. And I still stand by what I said earlier, where I said not all arguments are created equal, which I still stand by. But I also think that there are also times where you have to say, hey, let's actually let's use our brains here. It's like earlier when David Francisco, he's a cool guy, but like when you're saying that they don't deserve freedom of speech, it's like, hold on a second, we have to also be like, hey, we can't be dictators either. People need to have their right from freedom of speech. You have to be able to debate them and destroy their arguments.
And the last
you
thing
have to use
before I
nuance.
go, and the last one before I go, and the fact I don't like the fact how Jack Black saying, "Make America rage again," like.
Yeah, but that's goofy rhetoric. That's goofy rhetoric. That's like that's just salt talk.
Yeah,
salt talk.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it is.
Yes.
Like so with gaming, look, here's another example, right? The inclusion of and this is the other end of things. The inclusion of a black character is not DEI necessarily.
Exactly.
It's not like something's not woke because it has a female character or a black character in it. You have to analyze and address it. Look at the game, look at the developers, look at the intention of the people involved in the game. So even though we don't know much about Flintlock, we do know Sweet Baby Ink was involved and the character was originally meant to be white and was switched to black. If this game was a brand new IP and we had none of that information, you can only really judge it by the game itself. You could say, yeah, it's DEI because they're pushing this, but really, like, if there's no evidence to the contrary, you just have to assume that it's just a black female character in a game that's either good or bad. I think there's also like a level of like, thinking about that stuff. Like, get what I'm trying to get at? Like Yasuke. Yasuke is obviously makes no sense. Why is the first Assassin's Creed in Japan where you're playing as a black samurai that has no real like
already go on.
No, I was gonna say no real recorded history, and then a lot of it is hearsay and made up shit. That's the first Assassin's Creed in Japan, and you have the option to do gay romances.
And it turns out to be a lie.
And it turns out to be a lie.
It's just a lie.
So
it's
my whole
made up. I'm sorry. It's they already stated.
Yeah, it's a lie. It was made up by that guy.
He went into hiding.
Thomas
Lockley. He went into hiding.
Oh, it is real. It is real.
Yeah, so my whole point with that game is you could look at that and obviously say it's DEI, right? But like if you're playing a Mortal Kombat game from 2006 and there's a black character, there's Jax in it, you're not gonna be like, oh, Jax is there because of DEI. Like you have to like use critical thought, and I think that some people that are on our side of things also sometimes don't do that. They just assume automatically that like, oh, it's a black character, must be DI. I think like you have to really think about it. You have to like really think about it, analyze it, and come to a conclusion. So to that end, they should, if any developers hear me, make a new IP, make an a character action game, make your Devil May Cry, make your Devil May Cry Bayonetta Stellar Blade as game, but put a hot ass black female in there. And don't have it be a preaching point about social injustice, and just make her badass and cool. And I guarantee you, not only will that game sell well, but you'll be proving that black characters can't be successful without having to fucking make it a propaganda piece. That's my take
Thank
on it.
you. And by the way, great speech, Biden. And also, I want to thank Reverend Miller and Jim Pachi for inviting me to the show. By the way, guys, is Reborn 6619.
Oh yeah, no problem.
You can
Anytime.
go take a look at my channel. I do like
Yep.
music, other things, and also I do game related, topics to discuss. So if any of you feel free to join, or if you do podcast, just let me know. Then I feel free to do it.
For
Maybe it's
sure.
1-to-1
Yep.
or something.
Well, you're
Let me
always
know.
welcome, bro. You're always
Yeah, let
welcome,
me
and
know me Chan, or let me know
Yeah.
Royce
Anytime.
Ryan.
Yeah.
anytime
Anytime, man.
you're always welcome here. And if you ever want to have us on, we're
Yeah,
always as long as we're available. At least for me, I'm always down. So just let me know if anything.
yeah. If
You take
Evan
care.
wants to join my podcast, just let me know.
Yep.
All right. So, Revenant, that was all the subjects, right?
All right, Reborn. Take it easy, Reborn.
See you,
Take it
Reborn. Have a good one,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So I
peace.
guess we could wrap things
See
up,
ya.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
who wants to
yeah.
do the outro first?
Octo Commander, I am the CEO of Octomind video game and comic book company, and I occasionally stream and make videos. And I'd like to thank Jimpachi and Revenant and everybody else to put it on a good show. And I hope to be around. And thank you.
Always, bro. And remember,
Nice.
It's been great having
Octo
you on.
Commander, we talked about it before. Listen, if you ever want to collab a bit, we can, man. I know you're doing your game design thing, so. I'm a digital artist. I do that stuff, so I'll be more than happy to help you out if you ever want to. If you ever want.
Yep.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem, man.
My turn. My name is Royce Rayan. I want to be an animator, draw cartoons someday, of my own company someday, and I hope to get out of college and get my degree and start my animation soon.
Hey, Rolls Royce, good
Nice.
luck with that.
Nice.
I have experience with animation, man. You can always reach out. I'll tell you what programs I use and stuff if you ever need help with that.
I'm down with that. I'll join you, Jabanchi, Remlet. I like your video, Remlet. You're making sense. You telling the truth, and I like you keep doing more exposing these leftards who they really are, man. Thank you, Remlet. You're the best.
Thanks.
I have a bunch of
Thanks, man.
animation on my channel.
I appreciate it.
So
No
check it out.
problem,
And like I said, I have a bunch of animation on there. I'll tell you what I use so you can start now. Why wait? If you have the tools and the programs, and you can start animating now, bro, whenever you want.
Yeah, I will, man. Let me
just message me later or whatever somehow, or
Yeah.
message Remnant, and I'll give him the stuff I use. So
Sure. Appreciate it, man. I'll appreciate that. Once I get my DMV and once I get my grades fixed, yeah, I'll give you a contact so we can do this together. Yeah.
yeah, but
Why not?
even without me, just the programs and stuff like that. Just
Program, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
So,
I'll do
all
the
right.
program like you suggested. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Melina.
Hi, I'm Alina. I'm an artist and a gamer. You can follow me if you want to. I appreciate Jim Pachi and Revenant as always for featuring me on their show, and I appreciate everybody else as well in the comment section and those who come up on the panel. I appreciate you all. You all are wonderful.
We appreciate you too, and it's always good having you on, and it's always good hearing your voice and perspective, and you have a lot of good takes, and you're very sensible, and that's what we need more of. So you're always welcome. You're always welcome here, and we appreciate you just as much as you appreciate us.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it was great
thank
having you on again.
Yep.
No problem.
All right,
All
so
right,
I guess I'll
Jinpachi?
do mine. So I'm Jim Pachi. I'm an animator. I do digital art. I do a lot of gaming stuff. A lot of it is Arkham. I stream as well. Check out my channel. Most of my stuff, all of my stuff is basically apolitical. It's not no forced leftist propaganda. I have my own series called Augur. Episode 1 is up. Episode 2 is in the work, and yeah, just check it out if you're interested. If not, that's fine too. And thanks for the time. Thanks for watching us.
And as always,
Yup.
Remnant, it's always good co-hosting with you, and we'll definitely do more in the future.
Yup.
Yep. So thanks guys for everyone coming on the panel. Christian Frades. I think that was it. And of course, you guys who are here, still here, everyone for watching, commenting in the chat, and even those who check out the replay. It's all appreciated. And yeah, we should be back next weekend, probably. We'll definitely have a video out about the journalism and the journalists and how they're doing their usual freaking out and why that is. And I pushed that back for the Trump video, but anyway, I'm gonna get back on that. So yeah, so hopefully you guys have a good weekend, and yeah, so thanks for watching as usual.
Thanks for watching.
Yup.
Peace.
Peace.
See ya.